Friday. We are back here on Friday. What is going on, everybody? How are you all doing out there? It's Friday, as I was chanting a second ago. It's another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. I'm your host, Mav Spencer, however you might know me, and I am glad to be here, guys. It has been a week, as it kind of always is. Again, sort of a nicer one because we're in the Christmas season, but still a hell of a week. Lots of things to talk about. Lots of things to talk about, but also like nothing to talk about. You know, I feel like I don't really have a big headline story for this week. The Game Awards, I mean, we'll probably talk about that. But gosh, there was nothing that really came out of that. It was a pretty lame event. There's not a lot of, big news happening. We could talk about the fact that Justice League, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is done, but what else is there to say than that, right? Like, so long and thanks for all the fish, I guess. I guess that's really where we can go with that. But aside from that, we, of course, do have things we can talk about. We'll be talking about We'll talk about what we can from the Game Awards, because there was some neat stuff, even though it was kind of outweighed by a lot of bad stuff. We will talk about more Marvel Rivals, because I'm having a blast with that game. We will talk some comic books, because if you guys didn't catch last night's foil variant, A, we had to cut it a little short because Andrew had another stream to get to, and B, I mainly want to talk about one book that I know he's not reading, but oh man, I cannot get over it. So we'll talk about some of that stuff. And yeah, as always, whatever you guys want to talk about, I'm sure as we get going, we'll roll into discussion topics. Things will pop up. Everybody always has something to say. Volume low. That's interesting. Oh, you know what I did? Or first of all, Zero's here. What's going on, Zero? All right. Let me check this real quick. It's the same thing I always talk about, where for some reason, when I come on, my PC auto lowers the level on my microphone. So I was down to like 52%. So hopefully this sounds better. Hopefully I'm not blowing out your guys' ear. But aside from that, yes, some of you guys are already here. We had Andrew, we have Punk, we've got Sakura Mita, we've got Tehillim, we've got Zero. I'm sure more of our homies will roll in as the night goes on, and we'll have more things to talk about. So long story short, I am very, very stoked and excited to be hanging out with you guys tonight. I hope you are too. As always, we're here to try and kick your weekend off on a positive note. Lots of good things out there, even though there's lots of bad things out there. So, that's what we're here for. So buckle up, come hang out. I'm happy to see y'all. First off, I wanted to note, Sakura Mita brings up, Spencer is full bloom. So here's what's funny. I'm pretty sure, knowing Sakura, that is a reference to Pretty Cure, Full Bloom, which, I like that series a lot. I don't remember if I finished it. It's the one from last year. I remember really liking the concept, and yeah, I just can't remember if I finished it, but I really like that idea of, like, Sentai kid heroes coming back when they're adults and having to use their powers again. We don't really get a lot of that, we don't get that a lot, especially in the West. Like, when a Power Ranger comes back, right? Like when Tommy comes back, or Jason, or Billy, they're still relatively in the same sort of, like, I don't know, like, what am I trying to say here, guys? I wonder if you guys know what I'm talking about. Because, like, when I look at Billy in high school, and then I look at Mighty Morphin Season 1, and then I look at Billy in, like, whatever that special was that just came out. Once and for, I don't even know. It was really bad. Once in Future Ranger, Once and Always. I don't even care. But, like, when I see those two versions, they seem closer in age. You know what I mean? And so it kind of makes sense, like, oh, he comes back, and it's like, oh, he's only been away for, like, a year or two. But pardon me, in Full Bloom, it's like they're kids. They're like 8, 10, and then they have to be heroes again when they're like 32. So really, I really liked that concept. I genuinely can't remember if I finished it or not. If I know I started it, so still a recommendation for me. But the other funny part about that, Sakura, is that's not where my mind went first. At first, my mind went to Kingdom Hearts, because that is the weapon that you get from Marluxia in Chain of Memories, or you can fuse more of it in, or like a chain charm thing, an accessory. That's what it is in 2. Spencer, did you check X? Maybe. I don't really go on my Twitter a lot. I'm kind of too busy. What are we pointing out? Let's see. Oh, Yes, Sakura is. I saw this a little bit ago, but Sakura posted this to me. Here, we will jump over to our web window so I can show you guys what I am looking at. Let's present everything. Yes, so Sakura tagged me in this earlier. For those of you who don't know, the new Power Rangers 2D beat 'em up, Rita's Rewind, came out, and I don't know what to think of it, right? Because, well, I'll get to my thoughts on it in a second, but it looks like not a lot of people are checking it out. So this is what Sakura sent. He tagged me in this. It's the concurrent player numbers for Shredder's Revenge over the last few days. They had a 74-hour player peak, a 8,700 all-time peak, but we're looking at Rita's Rewind, and we've only got 146 in the last 24 hours, 239 all-time peak. Now, I don't know if this game was particularly marketed heavy on one platform or another, right? You know, sometimes a game comes out and, you know, all the marketing, all the advertising, all the trailers, it's like, this is a Switch game, this is a Switch game. And then, you know, also on Xbox and PS4 and PC. So I don't know if it was like that, but regardless of how they advertised it, this is a really bad result for this game. And I'm not going to lie, I know a lot of people, this is like, I'm going to have to put on like my pretentious gamer hat here, my pretentious artist hat, because I know a lot of people are enjoying this game right now, the Rita's Rewind. Like shout out to my boy Marvin, the movie monster over at Tooneytown TV. I know he's loving it a lot right now, but I'm not a fan of it. To me, this game feels very soulless, right? And I am pulling up a trailer right now or like footage for us to look at while we do this. But while that is loading, hey, yo, Timon, what is going on? Not a stream without you, buddy. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So, yeah. Oh, man, I'm not even... So I searched it. Here, we can just... I'll just bring open YouTube so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So I cracked open. I just searched Rita's Rewind. First result from this YouTuber, Top Hat Gaming Man. Power Rangers Rita's Rewind is awful. It is looking like people are maybe not enjoying it. I mean, this person's enjoying it. Yeah, see, it's kind of all over the place. But here's why I don't really particularly find this game, what do you call it, like, appealing. So, let's see. First, like, this was what set me off when we first saw this back at whatever award show it was that they released this thing at, which is, hey, she didn't stay flipped. Hold on a second, guys. I got to check something. Okay, so what I meant by that is, as you can obviously see, before we get into this Rita's Rewind stuff, my stream buddy for tonight is Calico from the current Uncanny X-Men run. She is a new mutant. She is a very sheltered, young, like, rich, hoity-toity, high society type of girl who's lived a very abusive life. Her mother kind of isolates her from the entire world, you know, convinces... The way Andrew put it when we were on Foil Variant is that she's sort of like... It's a one-person cult. Her mom's like a cult leader, and she's keeping her daughter very isolated, very... You know, she convinces her that everything out there is goblins, and she believes that they're actual goblins, things like that. But... she's got this amazing power that we don't really know yet, where she can kind of generate flaming, glowing armor for her and her horse, and she's just a really cool character. Yeah, Timon, she is I didn't even put that together, but she is very similar to like a She-Ra type character. Old school She-Ra, not Princesses of Power or whatever the hell that bad show was. But yeah, she's a great character. That's why she's there. 1 second. I have to... Hold on, I gotta kill the camera real quick. I am still here, but I need to... Something is bugging me back here and, like, digging into my back. Okay, that's what happened. Okay. Move all this stuff off my desk. Move it. All right. Ugh. I can't get back to it. Where's OBS? Okay, there we go. And I didn't even fix it right. Sorry, guys. My dogs were back there. They pushed something off my bed and it went into the green screen and it was like getting into my back. Really weird. Doesn't matter. We're okay. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, proper She-Ra. So I really like her, and I really, aside from the fact that I just like her as a character, I really, really like her power design. Like, she's kind of like a fiery Green Lantern. Like, her armor is always glowing. You can see right there. So I just really like her. She's a great character. And we got this amazing cover here from, what's his name? David Marquez for, let me pop over just to show you guys. It is this incredible David Marquez cover for the Uncanny X-Men, first part of the crossover with X-Men. You want more of that story, go check out Foil Variant over there with me and Andrew. But yeah, like, I love this cover because A, it just looks fantastic. B, like, I love David Marquez. He's a great artist. B, I don't know if you guys remember this, but a couple months ago when they announced the Marvel vs. Capcom collection or what is it called? The Marvel vs. Capcom collection right here, just in case, get your physical media. But, pardon me. When they announced that collection, that when it was coming out, Marvel also announced, a couple of our books are going to have Marvel vs. Capcom variant covers. And it was like, oh, sick. And even all the listings said, like, it's going to be drawn by Bengus. He's coming back. And you were like, oh, my God, we're going to get new MVC, like, key art from Bengus? Like, this is incredible. What could he be drawing? And then when they finally showed off what the covers were, they weren't real new pieces of art. It was literally just they took a given character's, like, profile picture from Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and they threw it on a cover. And it was so, so stupid, and I was so mad because if you guys know me, A, I love comic books, but B, I love my Marvel vs. Capcom. So that was disappointing. But then David Marquez here came in with the last-minute save, and he delivered an actual MVC homage in this Uncanny X-Men cover. So all of that combined, including the fact that there's a bunch of my favorite characters on this cover. You've got Magic, you've got Cyclops, you've got Juggernaut, you've got Calico, you've got Jubilee, you've got Psylocke. So I'm all about it. Great cover. But yeah, that's our stream buddy for tonight. Now, let's Rita's Rewind back to what we were talking about. So, this is... How do I put this? Because, yeah, so the thesis for my complaints here is that this game is the difference between, like, soul and soulless. And I know a lot of people, like... I'm not going to mince words. The actual gameplay and these sprites and stuff, this looks incredible. Or at least the sprite work does. The gameplay looks a little, oh my gosh. It looks a little, not janky, but a little loose. And I don't know if any of my old heads are in here. I know, possibly Nils, Owls, my friend Steven. Some of you guys might be out there. But this is very reminiscent of And I gotta wonder if they had some inspiration from it. But back in the day, there used to be, if you were in the sprite artist community, there was a style of sprite called Jayified sprites. And they were based on these, I forget what the base sprite was. I think it was like a Power Rangers, I can't remember. But they had these really big fists and exaggerated movements. And it looks very similar to this. So I wonder if that might have played a part. But aside from my little speculation, like, the game looks good. The graphics look good. It, even these, what do you call it? These portraits and even the presentation, it looks pretty dang good, but it also feels like it still doesn't feel, I wish I had the words for this, guys. But I'm glad you guys are here. You guys can help me develop what I'm trying to say. We can all develop it together. Maybe we can walk away with this with a new understanding of what the hell we're trying to talk about. But so for all the good this game does, the graphics, the presentation, there are still bits about it that feel a little cheap. And that's, just from the few things we've seen right here in the gameplay over the last minute. Like I said, the action feels a little loose. The font here, right? This font that Trini is talking in feels a little amateur. It doesn't feel like there was any styling put into it. It doesn't feel like anybody did anything more than just find a font, type it out. You know, the big blockiness of it doesn't communicate effort per se so much as like what it communicates to me is we needed to make this font big so you could see it on a mobile device. And that generally, when you're aiming for a mobile specific like development cycle or philosophy, you kind of sacrifice things. Imperfect, I think that's a good word, Sakura. First off, Tehillim, shalom, and good to see you too. I don't know if you caught it earlier, but I got your other message above, so we're not leaving you out. You're still here, my man. I'm happy to have you. I always am. Sakura says imperfect. Maybe it's imperfect, but it feels almost like, you know, a lot in comic books or movies or anime or whatever. There's sometimes a character might like get put under a spell, and it'll put them in their perfect life. And everything is fantastic. But then one thing like stands out to them, and that starts to like break the illusion. You know what I mean? Like that is the thing where they go, wait a minute, I know that's not how it goes. Or, hey, wait a minute, they were too nice to me, and it all crumbles. That's what this feels like to me. Like I get this beautiful 2D sprite side-scrolling beat 'em up of Power Rangers, which on paper, that's everything I want. But then there's these little cracks that I see in it that make me go, oh, you might not be the full-on production I was looking for. And so, yeah, you see it in the little gameplay bits. You see it in the font right here. Like, do you guys see what I sort of mean about the gameplay? It's not 100% very tight. It's got a lot of leeway. It's got a lot of splash. There's not a lot of feedback to the hits. Like when you do them, you kind of just like sails through them. Yeah, Tehillim, that's a good. Yeah, still feeling like an unfinished project. That's a really good way to put it, because, you know, for all the complaints I just had about that other font, the like chatting font, all the other font presentations we see here, got to take you down to Tehillim because you're covering it. But like the font right there for the name bar, or even the press A font up there, there's more effort and stylization put into those that make it feel like, oh, that's real. But then I see that font and I go, oh, you kind of just like threw this out here. Like Tehillim saying, like it's an unfinished project that you just wanted to get onto the market. And you guys sort of see what I'm saying? Like Zach's hitting them here, but there's not a lot of delay or collision detection. Like it's just sort of, you're doing it, but you're not receiving input for it. So it doesn't feel good. And so, yeah, and look, we can even see the text here again, right? It's bubbly, it's big, it's unstylized to a noticeable degree. And I can really point that out to you guys here, because even if you're not a graphic person, I can show you what I mean. If we look at the time, total hits, stage clear, and if you guys are watching on a PC, you might need to do the thing where you lean in close for this bit, but you can see that all of the sprite like text or letters in stage clear, it's just a solid single block. There's no shading done to it. There's no shadows drop behind it. There's no anything done to it. It's just flat layer, which even you know, if we backed out and we looked at the title card for Good, the Mad, the Ugly, even I recognize, like, you've got to give texture and depth to your text when you're presenting it like this, right? If this was just a book, or like if we were reading like an in-game journal or something, I probably wouldn't have that big of a deal with this font. But because it's splashed over everything, that's not a hyper stylized like name bar, it gets very noticeable. And yeah, Tehillim, it comes across like the TMNT Shredder's Revenge, and that's how we got here. Is Sakura was pointing out that right now this game, Rita's Rewind, is not doing hot. It peaked out at a total Steam player count of like 240 people compared to Shredder's Revenge's 8,600. So we were talking. That's why we got here. I was saying that, you know, the game looks great. It has a lot going for it, but it's just got that little bit that makes you go, ooh, this doesn't feel great. And it's not just like a one thing where you're like, oh, they got, you know, the symbol wrong on Zach's chest, or Trini's got the, you know, in one sprite, her visor turns blue by accident. It's not like that. Those are things that we can go, weird, but we can move on. These are the types of things that, I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys out here watch Red Letter Media, but they have a running gag that is, you know, you might not notice it, but your brain did. So when you guys, when we watch movies or we listen to a song or we eat something, we, right off the bat, we might not know why we don't like it. Or we might not even know why we like it. But there are things that our brain picks up in when we're engaging with all this stuff that, there are 9 million things a minute going through our brains. And so, yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that one. But I'll just say, what's up, Corey? I see Corey is here. How is it going, amigo? Always a pleasure to have you. Hopefully, you're getting ready for bed. Unfortunately, I know you probably got work in the morning, which is going to suck. But I'm always happy to hang out with you. Sakura says, the Zord stages were a nightmare. The difficulty selection was just continues and nothing else. Hold on to that, Sakura, because I've got things to complain about there. But the main thing, I think, perhaps more than... And, see, this stuff... This felt really inspired to me. This felt like you really, really wanted to go... This felt like it was made by somebody who really loved video games and remembered the old games we used to play as kids, like the old racers, like Cruisin' USA or Outrun or, Cruisin' Daytona. Any of those. That's what this feels like, maybe with a little bit of Road Rash thrown in there. And you can even see, right, guys? The text here has more stylization. Even that target above the tank has drop shadow behind it. The yellow text has, layers to it. This is what I'm talking about. There's so much here that is inspired that it's underserved by the stuff that clearly got budget cut. So, okay, yeah, we have this great kind of thing. And I genuinely have no qualms about this. I haven't played this yet, so I don't know how it feels to play. Sakura can probably weigh in on that for us. We all trust Sakura. We know him. He's our homie. But yeah, presentation wise, I love this. It makes me sad that I have to, rail against a game that has this kind of old school polygonal love and dedication to it. But for all of this, we get things like this. So this is the intro movie to the game. Just look at how bad all of these drawings are. All of this animation is very, very cheap. This is like Newgrounds parodying a Saturday morning cereal commercial from the 1980s, right? Like the ones that Timon loves so much. I know you, buddy. I see you. But it's got the things oh, there's Goldar, great. There's Billy, but it feels overtly, weirdly stylized, or not even stylized, just sort of like somebody, I don't know, lazy, rough, just not good. I wish I could land on the term. Damn it, I wish Andrew was here. I wish this was foil variant, because that man always knows exactly how to sum up what I say in 400 words in 2. See, these just don't feel... It feels so cheap. It feels beyond cheap. Like I said, it feels like a flash animation of a flash animation, if you will. I mean, the joke I made here, once it gets to the Rangers, oh, they went too fast, is, I gotta pause on the kids, on the teenagers with attitude, if you will. What's up with Kimberly's face? There's no consistency. All the line weights are very heavy and uniform. They're all the same thickness. There's detail but not detail. These look like they're supposed to be on, again, a menu at a McDonald's, right? Like a very quickly thrown together image that somebody just throws on a piece, a thing that they know kids are going to absorb, because kids don't really know anything. And that doesn't look like Jason. The only people I really truly recognize here are Billy, because that actually is pretty accurate to what Billy wore, and then Zach, because I know Zach is the black guy. That's about it. I mean, yeah, that's Trini over there, but she's dressing like freaking Eliza Thornberry. She doesn't dress like that in the show. So, and the joke I made when I first saw this trailer is, what's up with Jason? Why does he look Filipino? Right? That's... There's so much care put into most of it, or blots of this game, but then they cut so many corners that you're just sort of left unsatisfied. You just look at it and you're like, oh, you were so close, but yet so far. And sort of, oh shit, check that out, Corey. No, overtime got canceled for tomorrow. Worked 12 days straight. That's what I like to hear. Corey has a weekend to himself. I don't even care if you spend it here. I'm just glad that you get some time off, my friend. That is awesome. Oh, yeah, Jacob, that's another thing, too, is who cares about the Mighty Team anymore? Like, you know, one of the reasons, Soccer, you might be seeing so little players on the Steam version of this game is because Cider and Jacob and Nerdigans and I, we've talked about this a lot on all of our various shows, whether it's Barroom or 01 or whatever, what have you. But kids these days don't know the Mighty Morphin Team, right? The whole thing with Power Rangers, with Sentai, is that you're supposed to be able to have a new team each year. So you get new stories, new characters, and the genius in that is it allows the franchise to be multi-generational in the sense that, you know, how it was working before, you know, Hasbro kind of shit the bed was we would have a new season. You would watch the seasons eventually, like we all do, or most of us do, not people like me and Cider. You grow out of it, or not grow out of it, you know, you just stop watching it. Maybe you're not interested in a season, you don't come back for it. That's fine. You grow up, you have some kids, then your kids start watching Power Rangers, right? They're watching Disney one day, or they're watching Nick, whatever it was on at the time, and an episode of Power Rangers Samurai comes on. Well, now they can go, oh, hey, Dad, hey, Mom, I really love Power Rangers Samurai. It's a really cool show. Do you like Power Rangers? And a parent can go, oh, my goodness, let's connect. Like, there's a connection point. I loved this, you know, team as a kid. I love the Mighty Team, and you can connect. Maybe you guys get into more of it. But it's a good connection point. It reestablishes it. And then when your daughter or your son grows up, they do that with their kids. You know, oh, me and Grandpa love this show. And, you know, sometimes it'll take, sometimes it won't. But, you know, you guys know what I mean. It's this really good multi-generational connection sort of franchise. And once Hasbro got their hands on it, so if you guys remember, long story short, Hasbro didn't want Power Rangers as a brand. The old CEO, like 2 years before he freaking died, just out of nowhere went and bought it, came back to the company and said, hey, we have Power Rangers now. And everybody was pissed because they were like, we don't do anything. Like, what are we supposed to do here? We have no plans for this. And it was very evident because not only were all the shows bad, but if you go look at all the merchandise that's put out, whether it's clothing, whether it's video games, whether it's, you know, even the comic books, as much as I love them, or the action figures, or the higher end models, or any of that, it's all Mighty Morphin. And that's because Hasbro has this dumb idea of like, oh, people liked Mighty Morphin, let's go, you know, get them. Let's get the adults with the spending money now. Let's appeal to them. But the problem is, one, Mighty Morphin's been a cultural phenomenon here in the West since it was here, since 1993, so 30 years now. People, you know, we've had no shortage, really, of Power Rangers toys, merchandise, all of that stuff is continual, especially when it comes to the Mighty Team, because it was such a big one here. So at this point in people's lives, they generally have the Power Rangers merch they're going to want. If an adult collector wants a line of the Power Rangers, they've probably already bought the SH Figuarts line, or they've bought the Super 7 line, or they went and they bought the old, I don't even remember who used to make the old toys, Mattel, I think, the old Mattel figures. There's just so many different options out there that going, oh, okay, guess what our new release is? Another Green Ranger Tommy. Aren't you guys so stoked? I know, it's another Tommy, guys, buy it up. Everybody's going to go, I've got 7 Tommies already. I've got 7 green Tommies, 2 evil green Tommies, and 14 White Ranger Tommies, and the limited edition, like, Zeo Gold Tommy in box, right? Like, so you're essentially, like, trying to create an entire business segment on something that's already highly oversaturated that people don't really particularly need, right? I don't know. It's really dumb business economics, and you can tell it's a decision made entirely by people who are detached from what the brand actually means, like most media these days. But it's Yes, exactly. And Timon and Sakura bring this up. Sentai doesn't have that problem. You don't see this from Super Sentai because they knew it's a bad idea. Exactly, right? We don't get out of Super Sentai and Kamen Rider. We might see a writer come back, an old writer come back and for a movie or a cameo or maybe like 2 episodes, but that's it. And they very much are aware, like, we're doing this as a treat. Not, oh, look, we're doing Den-O again. Everybody, it's Kamen Rider. I mean, they did that for a little while, but they know that you have to keep moving. And so we don't have, oh, it's 2023. We're going to have Q Ranger season 2 because everybody understands that you grow up and sort of move on. And I mean, that just speaks to the bigger divide in American versus Japanese media, right? And actually, now that I think about it, it's a really good example of that. So in the West, right, especially with our comic books, which I would argue would probably the closest cultural equivalent to tokusatsu and all that sort of stuff, right? So in comic books, unfortunately, because of the way the industry and the culture developed, we all know that, you're never going to see the end of a character. No matter what's going to happen 80 years from now, they're going to find some way to reset Spider-Man, some way to bring back Steve Rogers as an old, or like as young Cap right out of the ice. All of that will have to happen because that is what they have marketed everything on. We know this from the executives and the creators that work at these publishers, oh, we got to make sure, I mean, just look at movie synergy, right? Like, oh, we got to make sure Sam is Captain America in the comics now because that's the one we're promoting. Or what am I even saying there? I think I got distracted because like a dog hair went up my nose. All right, let me restart that idea. So American comics, they constantly revert to status quo because status quo is what people will remember. And that's what these companies, in America, they see a lot more of these properties as brands to sell something with, right? So that's why we might get a cool new Spider-Man suit, we might get a cool new Wolverine story, but at the end of the day, you're always going to have the hairy Canadian man with the adamantium bones, you're always going to have the red and blue with the webs, because they kind of the American industry got itself into a corner. They think too much in terms of let's make money, which I mean, we all have to make money, but you can find a middle ground between profit and artistic integrity. But in America, in the Western comics industry, it's keep rebooting it, keep bringing them in, always sell them Spider-Man. People are going to love Spider-Man forever. And in Japan, yes, people like brands, but they also keep doing new stuff with it while also sort of touching back on the stuff we used to, like the old stuff. For example, look at Dragon Ball. People love Dragon Ball, but Toriyama brought it to an end with Majin Buu. Regardless of where he wanted to originally, where the cards are dealt, he brought it to an end with Majin Buu. After Majin Buu, they could have gone and they could have reset everything and said, we're redoing Dragon Ball and we're starting from zero, so all the people who didn't catch Goku's first adventure can catch up now. Or they could have said, we're going to, I mean, they kind of did revive Goku and just bring him back and keep doing this forever. But instead, they moved forward, right? We got things like GT, we got things like Super, we got things like the Z movies, Battle of the Gods and stuff. Again, your opinion on them aside, Japan at least went forward and added to the lore rather than just going, oh, let's go do another movie about the Saiyan saga. Oh yeah, people love that Vegeta Goku. Let's just go do another movie of that. Right? Like it's very, but in the West, how many times have we had to do the Uncle Ben gets shot, Batman's parents get shot, Krypton blows up, right? Like they sort of understand the generational aspect of it, which is if you're going to keep producing something or marketing and or for lack of a better term, milking something, you've got to constantly sort of appeal to the audience that you're looking at, right? So that's why, like, what am I trying to say? With Dragon Ball, for example, there are a lot of high-end statue, or there are a lot of like figures, like the band Presto figures, that are recreations of scenes from Saiyan Saga, Namek Saga, the first Budokai Saga back in like Dragon Ball, the Red Ribbon Army Saga. But those are higher priced because they understand that the fans who were all about that, most of them, for the most part, have probably, moved on, or not moved on, but they are older now and they can afford these higher end collectibles. Whereas kids, they're not. So, make a new thing for them, appeal to them with that new thing, and then you get that multi-generational thing. But in terms of how that all comes together with Rita's Rewind here, or in Power Rangers in the West, notice how they always have to keep going back to Mighty Morphin. Everything has to be Mighty Morphin. This game, Mighty Morphin. The live-action movie, Mighty Morphin. The new Netflix special, it doesn't even make, it introduces, I think, Trini's daughter, and it doesn't even make her a new Ranger. It just makes her the new Mighty Morphin Yellow. And it's just like, we as fans, we've already all been here, and kids don't give a shit about them, right? Kids don't care that, oh, it's Billy, hell yeah. Kids are going to want something entertaining, something cool. They're still at the stage where you can more easily make a case that, hey, this is a cool character than you could to like an adult fan like us, because they're not as cynical, which is just the way of the world. That's what I'm saying, Andrew. These are the Rangers. These are your 5 main Power Rangers in that new Rita's Rewind game. Like, it's just, it's not great looking. It's very, very bad. But that's, you can sort of see that, right? Like, that's why Power Rangers is dying as a brand here, is because the higher ups all think that all anybody wants is Mighty Morphin, that people are going to love Mighty Morphin. They're missing out on the fact, like, this is what blows my mind, is like, you all heard what I was saying about, if you're at this point in your life and you're a Mighty Morphin fan, you're probably an adult with disposable income, and you've probably got your entire set of main Rangers and your Tommy and whatever, right? Your figures or your maquettes, whatever you personally want to collect. So you're not going to be buying a bunch of new Mighty Morphin merch. The kids who, grew up on things like Samurai or Dino Fury, Jungle Fury, Beast Morph, like all of that, they're not getting anything anymore. And that's who you should be tapping now, because that's the demographic that is in the young adult age right now that has the disposable income. They're the ones in college who don't have families or car notes to pay off. So they're the ones who could be buying your merch. But instead, you're just going, I don't want your money. Hey, you with the 7 mortgages, or not mortgages, but like the 7 cars and the 4 kids and the mortgage. Can I interest you in a giant, live action Dragon Shield? It's absolutely stupid. It's not indicative of a company that knows how to handle a given property or even cares to. Like again, I'm so baffled by the difference in the presentation of the actual sprite gameplay here and the like cut scenes, I guess you can call them, where like, what was this? Look at this. This is the ending cutscene, right? Like, all of these portraits, they all look amazing. And then this looks pretty damn good too. This looks like an old school, like, arcade ending. The graphic fidelity is a little better. I'm kind of noticing that. But that's just, it's technology, whatever. This is cool. But notice how this stands in such stark contrast to what we were looking at the very beginning of the game. Now they, like, teleport up. What do they do? Oh, there's one more level. Never mind. That's not the end. That's the end. They, go, hit play. Go. Yep, they kick what's his name, or Robo Rita into space. So, like, yeah, Andrew's got it right here. There's a balance between nostalgia and growing something new. But the problem is, America, for whatever reason, and there's a lot of reasons, and it's a very true thing, and I'm not a sociologist, so I can't get into all of the factors, but there is a very worrying obsession with nostalgia just in the general, like, Western populace, and then an obsession with companies to market specifically to nostalgia, right? I think it has a lot to do, just, on a personal bent, I think it has a lot to do with just the ever-growing ever-growing combativeness and inability for current society to get along or even want to try to get along, because, you know, we're seeing it a lot now, even with the Game Awards. If somebody drops anything, if they say, hey, here's something new, everybody and their fucking mothers will shit their pants and project whatever insecure worry they have onto your product, and it makes things impossible to deal with. And I mean that for good things and bad things, right? Like, I know a lot of people are going to go, oh, but Mav, we've been burned before. You cover this all the time on Bounding into Comics. You know this is an industry trend. And it's like, I do. But I also know that I'm not going to turn into somebody who just leaps to shit his pants over every little thing I can, twisting everything I can just so I can get angry, because that's not going to get us anywhere. It's not going to help anybody. It's going to stifle creativity. And that's what happens. That's where my nostalgia theory comes in, is that because so many people, or because we as a culture right now are so apprehensive and combative to anything new, companies in the West just go, all right, well, if they're going to get pissed off about whatever we do, just make a Mighty Morphin game, because nobody's going to get mad about the, you know, who's in a Mighty Morphin game. Nobody's going to get mad at the fact that there's a black guy in the Mighty Morphin game because he was on the show. So it all really wraps into that. Timon says, I hate close-ups of 8-bit, 16-bit art. I do too. I only hate it, actually, Timon, when, like, you can tell they, like, stretched it out instead of building a bigger sprite individually. Some games do that. Like, Final Fantasy does that with its end bosses, or, oh my gosh, what's his name from Earthbound is sort of like that. But I'm generally with you. I don't really like when we get the big close-ups like that. Water. Let's see. And yeah, that's where Timon's coming from. The faux 16-bit graphics bother me in this type of game. If I can single out the bit square, it bugs me. See, I like the bit squares. To me, that's what I want, because I really, really, really love sprites. I really fucking hate when I play like a remaster or a port of a game and it puts on like a filter and it smooths it all out, because it just looks bad. It just looks like you threw a bad Photoshop filter over it. But yeah, to each their own. But yeah, I still agree with you on blowing it up. Like, when it gets blown up, I do not like it. But yeah, see, this is kind of like the biggest point I probably have that I wanted to talk about tonight, because this is my platform and this is what I feel like we need to talk about this. So Andrew's talking, everyone actively wants to look for something to crawl up their asshole. It's very gay. It is very gay. And it's sort of, you know, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, because you see this argument a lot from people online, you know, oh, why is Japan so nice compared to the West? And they always go and blame the stupidest shit. It's immigration. It's, you know, the fact that there's no diversity there. Oh, it's their economy. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's their war culture. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, you're all being intentionally obtuse, because what the real fucking problem is in this, like, right now, is that there is a very strong bent. I think I might have talked about this last week, but it's still pissing me off. There is a very big bent of toxic individualism that is running through every angle, every corner, every part of the world, of the internet, of everything right now. So nobody anymore wants to even try to be considerate or try to get along with somebody if it infringes on what they want to do, right? So, for example, one of the best, like, or let me rephrase that because that sounded stupid. Pardon me. Oh, okay, never mind. I understand what you're saying, Timon. Okay. I know what you mean. Now you're talking about, like, squares, like actual big squares. When I got you now. Now I got you. But so I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a there's a tweet going around where a guy, he's a Canadian. He went to the hospital with a problem with his heart or his chest. He wasn't feeling great. He got there. They gave him like an x-ray, and then they like kicked him out to the waiting room, and he was there for 6 hours, and they didn't give him any update. And so he went, fine, I'm just going to go home. I feel okay. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody seems to be treating me urgently. Fuck it. So he goes home and he dies. And a lot of people, you know, were retweeting him like, hey, my mutual just died. This is a fucked up story. We need to talk about, you know, even the Canadian healthcare system isn't perfect. And I saw so many people under that. Like, I saw one guy just retweet it like, I just lost, you know, a really good friend of mine. I'm going to miss you. Just one of those really sad, like, this could happen to anybody. Stay safe out there. I miss you sort of post. And it was, there were like two guys in that reply going, well, this is what your buddy gets for, you know, wanting communist medicine. This is what he gets for, you know, supporting a socialist government. And the guy was just like, I get you guys might have complaints about the healthcare system or whatever, but right now, like, this isn't the place. I'm just trying to be respectful and, like, miss my friend. And both of them fired back with, oh, this is fucking Twitter. If you don't like it, why did you post it? And that's what I'm fucking talking about, right? Like, nobody wants to take the personal L and not do something for decorum because they think it's a personal attack on their liberty. You know, ask somebody, hey, can you stay off your phone in the movie theater? They lose their mind. Ask somebody, hey, excuse me, can I, you know, you're not moving in the grocery line because you're on your phone. Can we move? They will lose their mind at you for inconveniencing them. If this is something I saw earlier going around our sphere, and, you know, video game developers will sometimes put, or not even just video game developers, it's people, companies, individuals, they will put out statements saying, hey, no excessive, you know, like we've seen a lot of excessive criticism being leveled at our employees. And yes, this is in reference to the level 5 post where they recently did the same thing. Lots of criticism being, excessive criticism being leveled at our employees. Like, please, you know, don't do that. We wouldn't like you to do that. We want everything to be respectful. If you do continue to do that, we're going to, you know, take action, maybe ban you, block you, whatever. And everybody loses their minds and goes, oh, so you don't want criticism. I can't fucking criticize you. And it's like, no, you gigantic douchebag. It's not about criticism. It's about nobody. You think like you are not special. And I see too many people go, oh, you don't like criticism? And I go and I look at their profiles and you don't criticize. You're just shitting your pants and going, at whoever, why the fuck is this woke? At whoever, why did you ruin this game? At whoever, you should fire all of your woke DEI staff. That's not criticism, guys. That's just bitching. It's not constructive. And I will guarantee you the more people just hear fire your DEI staff, the more they're going to double down. It doesn't help anybody. But regardless, exactly, there you go, Andrew. It's called don't be an asshole. But nobody wants to do that anymore. And it's making me so fucking furious because it literally costs no money to just be a decent human being. To just go, oh, that guy's having a bad day. I'm not going to get on his butt. Or to not lie about people. Or to not harass people. And yet, people will go out and do it, and then they will play the fucking victim, and I am just sick of it. Like, I'm sick of duplicitous assholes. I am sick of people just being inconsiderate and pretending like, oh, what? I was joking. Or, oh, what? It's a free country. If you don't like it, you know, move on. I literally, like, I saw a dude today, like, just 5 seconds before I jumped on the stream. Some guy, like, was like, I don't like NFT artists or, like, it was an artist. And he was like, I don't like NFTs or generative AI. Get off my page. A little harsh, but fairly, like, as an artist, I get it. It's reasonable. And so some dude replies to him and goes, you're a fucking douchebag beta cuck. Like, that's a literal quote. Like, get the fuck with the times. What is wrong, crybaby? Afraid you can't, you know, handle the heat? He gets blocked. And then I see him reply to another person go, that guy blocked me for calling him out. And I'm like, you didn't call him out. You are a giant fucking dick. And there is a world of difference. And I think, like, I've just seen so much of this over these past 2 weeks that I'm like sick of it. Like I don't stand for it anymore. I'm just fucking done with all of it. Don't be a dick is my like living philosophy, and too many of y'all are failing that. But that is my Spencer's social soapbox for the week because I am just Caveat, what is going on? For some reason, your chat didn't send through the social ninja, so I can't highlight it. But yes, Caveat is completely right. It's because asshole complainers get attention and unfortunately results. A lot of times, maybe, I don't know. No, you are completely correct, Caveat. That is the problem. The loudest voices do get the most attention. But it's also very cyclical. The loudest voices get attention, so then the voices who want to be loud give them attention, because then it gets attention on them. And so now we live in just an attention ecosystem. Nobody cares about being genuine or honest or just nice to people, right? Like it is a world devoid of empathy right now, and it sucks, and it's depressing, and it's getting to the point where I get pissed off about it. Maybe this is good. It's the weekend, because I unplug on the weekends. I try to stay off the internet, and maybe it's getting about that time. Yeah, you're talking about them, not the people who are nice to you. Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, you're talking about them, not the people who are nice to you. Well, I talk to you guys. I highlight you guys. I try to go, that's why we have foil variant, so we can go and talk about good things. But I know I am feeding into the problem right here, but I'm just sort of, that's why I'm not naming anybody in particular. If anybody is thinking of people, everybody, it's sort of a Rorschach test, right? If I say stop being an asshole, you guys all have people in your minds who you probably know are legitimate assholes, and you know who I'm talking about, or you don't know who I'm talking, whatever, right? This is just a general rule I wanted to put out there. And maybe if I can reach just like 3 of my viewers to go, oh yeah, the next time I see something that might, enrage me on Twitter, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm just going to keep on walking. Or maybe I'll say, hey, that kind of sucks, and I'm not going to harangue on it, right? Just, we need to, Caveat, you're not just being a jerk. I will talk about you at all times, my friend. What are you talking about? Get the heck out of here. But yeah, that's been like boiling. Really, that death post made me just so fucking furious, because it's like, you can't take 2 seconds. Like, you have to keep being a dick on a post about a guy who died from an unfortunate thing that, what is wrong with you? And I'm supposed to respect you and think that you're some, freedom fighter? Get the fuck out of my face. Like, it's just, all right. Now at this point, yeah, now we're just circling, and I'm just getting, bartender another round. So let's see. What else is there to talk about? What do we want to go to? You know what I want to go to? Because you probably will not get this anywhere else. Let's go to a certain little comic book that we don't talk about on foil variant, because my man is not interested, and that's fine. Everybody's got their taste. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Talk about Discount Jada Pinkett. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Zero. I'm sorry. I don't care enough about this online drama stuff, right? So you can inform me, but I don't know what you're talking about. So what I was going to talk about, I don't give a shit, Zero. This is what I'm talking about. Everybody's going, oh, look, Intergalactic's woke. Intergalactic's this. Okay, great. I don't care. It's a Naughty Dog game. Literally, what the fuck am I going to say? This is not directed at you, Zero. Sorry. It seems like it is, but it's just sort of like the general miasma. Everybody's shitting their pants. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's going, oh, look, bald protagonist woke. Oh, my God. I don't care. I'm one of those people who will wait to see what the actual end product is, because there are so many times where we've seen something that everybody shat their pants was woke, and then came out and it was universally beloved. And aside from that, I don't care about Naughty Dog. It's going to be trash no matter what. There's just nothing to say there. I'm not going to spend 45 minutes trying to milk a topic that everybody else is crapping their pants over. That's all. There's nothing to say there. There's nothing. Anybody trying to make more of a mountain out of that, it's just, this is what I'm just done with this stupid fabricated drama bullshit. And maybe we'll talk about what I'm really talking, I want to get through this Ultimate X-Men, and then maybe we'll talk about, we'll talk about Ultimate X-Men, and then, because, you know what? No, because we are here, what should I bring up to, that's what I'll bring up for us to talk or to look at while we talk about this, because I figure we might as well just stay in the same realm instead of, cutting to a different topic and then going back. Yeah, I know that was an accident, Timon. I keep doing it because I'm moving. But Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? That's what we can look at. That'll be fun for everyone. So, whoops. That's not going to be fun if I type it in wrong. Bum ba-dum bum ba-dum 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 bum ba-dum ba-dum. Okay. So, this is sort of where I'm getting at with all of my sort of don't be a dick anger, all of that stuff. Yeah, I need to upgrade the hell out of my mic. There are some I want, but their mics are crazy expensive. Like, I'm not saying anything that anybody didn't know, and I'm not trying to say like, oh, woe is me. It's the same for all of us, but god dang, it's expensive to get a new microphone. But that's not what I wanted. That was the wrong window. Wrong window. Maybe it'll go to the right one this time. Yeah! All right. What's up, Uzaki-chan? How you doing? Good episode. Episode 1 of the 2nd season. So, obviously, you know, you guys have probably all seen across this past week, there's been a lot of discourse surrounding fan service, cheesecake, that kind of stuff in video games, right? And we are seeing a giant pushback. And I want to make this clear. This weird debate we're in the middle of right now is not a Christians versus everybody else debate, right? Like, I know a lot of people are framing it like that, but I want to make it extremely clear that this is not Christians. This is zealots. These are wannabe crusaders. These are people who are very, very insecure in their faith and need validation for what's going on, right? So, no, I'm going to bother with this because this is something that I really, really need to hammer home. And in case anybody is wondering what my stance on it was, since I've been silent on social media, but over the past few weeks, we've had about 5 over-the-top performative religious crusaders trying to foment a new divide within, for lack of a better term, our sphere. That, you know, it is the John Trents, the John De La Roses, the Melanie Macs, the Dred Roberts, and a handful of other people who are popping in here or there. They're going around accusing anything with even the hint of sexuality of being pornography. And it's pornography, so you need to ban it, and it's the devil, and anybody who engages with it is evil and immature, and we shouldn't have them in our industry. Now, one thing I want to make clear is a lot of these crusaders are being very duplicitous in the way they talk about this, because on one hand, they will go, wow, games are such, you know, pervert bait now. Why are all games, you know, so perverted? This is like pornography. And then people will go, well, we don't want you to ban it. We don't want censorship. And then they will always go, what the hell? What the hell? I didn't say I want to ban it, do I? But it's disingenuous because you just have to have 3 brain cells and follow the conversation, which is if you say pornography needs to be banned, and then you go, this game, this art style is porn. What am I? Oh, now where's the divide that makes it that you're not calling for censorship, right? It's completely disingenuous, and it's really just showing their bare ass that they don't really have principles. They just want to fight. They just want to be angry. They want to, these types of individuals, you see them on, you know, the other side as well. These are the ones who just want to foment anger and play the victim so that they can, you know, for that reason, so that they can go, look at everybody. Look at them all trying to cancel me. Look at them all yelling at me. Look at them all telling me to go away. And it's like, we nobody's canceling you. We just say we disagree, right? Like, the bottom line throughout this entire debate is if you're an adult, you should be responsible for yourself. If you think that this qualifies as porn, you should you should take steps to live your life how you think it works. Go and, you know, make sure it doesn't air in your home, talk to your kids. You don't have to engage with it. But it is not on you to try and legislate morality and force your way of thinking on us because you are unable to control yourself, right? Like, that's really what this projection is from either side all the time is, I love that tweet, and I wish I had it, where it's like, you know, people will really come and try to make their, the fact that they can't look at a woman without getting, you know, stupid horny and make it your problem, right? Like, dang it, I'm going to back that up a little bit. Maybe that'll help. But yeah, I didn't really want to like touch on this because bottom line, you guys know me, no censorship. Censorship will always be turned on the other party, the ones who call for it. I don't want, I don't want Uzaki banned as much as I don't want the Bible banned. So, if you want to live that life, live that life. I'm not going to tell you not to live that life. Nobody's going to tell you not to live that life. But you don't get to come over here and tell me that because you're unable to control yourself, I have to follow a God I don't believe in. So, yeah, I mean, well, that's sort of what I'm talking about, Zero, right? Is they claim to be in our sphere, but they're really just looking for any moment where they can A, be superior to you and huff their own farts, and B, play the victim to get attention. Once you start noticing that pattern, it all of this stuff should like fall away from, like, I say this all the time. The people who shout the loudest usually have nothing to say. And it continues to hold true every day. What I do want to say is that, like I said at the top, this is not all Christians. I have a lot of good Christian friends. I have Andrew, I have Jonas from That Park Place, my good friend Martin Stone over at Tooneytown. They're very Christian. They follow their faith. But they don't crap their pants and try to tell me how to live my life. And B, they also are able to handle things on their own. Andrew knows what his limit is, just like Martin knows his limit and Jonas knows his limit, right? So I don't want this to turn into we should kick all Christians out of our movement, because no, absolutely not. You need to kick out authoritarians. You need to be very careful about that, because what we don't want to do here is kick out one authoritarian presence for another one. Because if that happens, it's just we already went through that, right, guys? That's sort of what started all this. The satanic panic of the 80s and in the 90s. That's what led us to this sort of current mentality, that we're in now. And again, a lot of this comes from America's, religious inception, a puritanical inception. It's something that we're going to have to deal with probably for the rest of our nation's history. But just shut the hell up. Like, that's what, if you're an American and you're trying to say, oh, we should ban all of this stuff and you should live exactly how I say and according to my religion, you have completely lost the plot, right? You're only in it to huff your own farts and make yourself feel better so that you can go back to your buddies and go, look, they hated me because I was such a good Christian. And they can all go, yeah, you're the best. It doesn't accomplish anything. It only huffs egos. And bottom line, I am so very, very, I want to end this frustrating, segment with gratitude, because genuinely, to everybody who's in the chat here now, everybody who is watching in the VOD or is watching without, commenting, I have seen so many people in our sphere push back against this, this overcorrection, if you will, right? So hold on, more water. Pardon me. I've seen so many people pushing back against that. And I will be completely honest with you guys. There was a period while, or probably up until this week, I did have a lingering concern that once the window shifted in our favor, we were going to get another push. We were going to get this other wave of Christian fundamentalism. And then we were going to have to fight that battle again, where everybody was going to go over to that side. And I'm so thankful to our sphere, our various communities, all of you individuals out there, because 98% of the people out there are just pushing back. They're not even readers of Bounding. They're not followers of mine. Just people I see on the internet are pushing back. And it makes me as an artist really, really excited, because freedom of expression is one of the last bastions we all have here as humans, to express ourselves, to communicate. And the second you start putting clamps on that, everything goes off the rails. Let's see. Yeah, no, Melanie has no right to dictate it. The Johns have no right to dictate it. Nobody has a right to dictate it. The only thing you have a right to dictate is whether you engage with it, whether you consume it, and whether you host it and play party to it, right? Like I don't think that's what these people don't understand, is that there will always be something that pushes that, like, you will disagree with. You can never legislate yourself into a perfect world, because the second your perfect world is going to be a different perfect world than somebody else's. And even if you're on the complete same side for most things, you're going to get to a disagreement and things are going to fall apart. So the only real way for us to move forward is to chill the fuck out, treat everybody not as an enemy, but just as another human being trying to make their way through this stupid earth, and stop trying to control other people. Instead of controlling other people, do something for yourself, right? Go on a run. Go read your Bible. Go read a comic book. Go play a video game that you like, that you've been meaning to check out. Stop seething over what another person is doing on their own time, right? I only got one box. I only got one. I don't have a lot of money right now because of Christmas, but and remember, I don't get the special San Jose store discount. But yeah, and Timon brings up another good point here. Christian is too big of an umbrella. Lots of different religions within Christianity. I'm Christian, but my religion, it's called Spiritism. And that's a really good point too, right? Because all religion, there's so many denominations, everybody's fighting for a different thing. I mean, even if we look over at, the Crusaders now, Melanie's just Christian, the Trents are wannabe Catholic. Like, it's all these alliances that will just eventually come to, if you build an alliance on we're going to achieve purity, it's always going to fall apart, because nobody will ever be that pure. So I'm glad you bring up that point, Timon, too, because I don't want to brush off people like Timon. I don't want to brush off, people who are able to engage with the world without losing their minds. We should be welcoming of them. We should show, like, yes, we want to talk to you. We welcome your, input. Come on over. And, like, to be very clear, because this is another thing, a lot of the people who are anti-fan service, which is fine. I don't care what your preferences are. Have your preferences. But a lot of the people who are anti-fan service are a lot of them leapt to this conclusion because this all got started by that Pirate Nation account asking, is this what gamers want? And it was, that gif of the first Ascendant girl dancing with the camera angle down by her booty, whatever. Off of that, like, oh my gosh, where was I going to go with this? A lot of, it was sort of a defensive reaction I saw from a few people, which was like, oh, I don't want it that way. Like, I think this is pervert. Like, I don't want all of our games being booby-like stuff. And it's like, guys, nobody's saying everything should be like that. I think we can all agree that if the entire industry was just dead or alive beach volleyball, it would be a bad industry. We wouldn't be having fun. I mean, sexy characters alone don't sell games. Otherwise, all of us would be playing every piece of Chinese, Japanese gacha slop that drops out every other week, right? And yet we don't, because it still matters about the gameplay. What we are saying is that it should be a full open market, right? If we go into the store of video games, there should be a section for, anime dating novels. There could be a section for, more family-oriented games. You could have some games that are like more like on a Christian bent that are maybe from Christian developers. And then you could have games over here that are, made by dudes who really love blood and guts and satanic imagery. It's a big tent and everybody can be there. And it's up to you to decide what you're going to want to engage with. Just like I was saying with Dozer, right? I don't have to engage with that new Naughty Dog game. I saw the trailer, sure, but I don't have to go out and play it. Nobody's going to sit me down, put the controller in my hand, and stimulate the neurons in my mind to make the controller go. And I do that because I know I'm not going to like that game, and it's only going to piss me off. I'll criticize it, sure, but I'm also not going to sit there and pretend like, oh, this is what all video games are now, and I have to do this, right? I know that for, like, again, Game Awards last night, everybody's talking about that stupid Naughty Dog game, but guess what? We got an Okami 2 announcement from Hideki Kamiya himself. That's good. That's amazing. That's awesome. Like, there are still good things out there, and those are the things we should highlight and engage with and spend our time on instead of trying to go out and pick fights. Like that's really just, I guess probably the end of my ranting here. Like generally, thank you everybody for, restoring my faith in artistic freedom and the supporters of it. It makes me really happy to see that the spirit of free speech, even, regardless of the extremes on either side of our American political spectrum, Americans still do generally care about, letting people be, right? So I thank everybody for that. Just, I'm sure you've all heard angry ranting. You're going to hear it. I guess from this, the takeaway is like, just think about it. Be aware of this stuff. If you're going to fight with them, but also be aware that of what's going on. That's the philosophy of Good Mav Ugly, right? Is, as I say when we close out the show every week, we're not closing right now. It's only been an hour. I'm just saying, the world is shitty right now. There's lots of shitty stuff out there, but I host this show to remind you guys, to kick off your weekends on a positive note, to let you guys remember, there's great stuff happening. There's still cool stuff. Let's, laugh at the bad stuff, but also I want you guys to remember, there are good games out there. We can go find good shows. And that's what I love about having such an open discussion with you guys, is that Timon will drop a name of a show. He talked about Flashman earlier. One of our, somebody else in here might go, ooh, what's Flashman? Sakura talks about Precure. Maybe somebody will go, oh, hey, what's Precure? I want to check that out. Zero talks about, oh man, I just beat Sonic X Shadows Generation. Pretty fun game. Maybe somebody else will go, oh wow, Zero said it was good, and let me check that out. It's about a balance. Don't let yourself, what is that H.P. Lovecraft quote or whatever it is, right? Don't stare into the void or you'll become whatever that stupid quote is. Or here, fine, I'll go even stupider. I'll just go Heath Ledger, Dark Knight. You either die a hero, or no, it's not even Joker. It's Gordon. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain, right? So just keep your head on a swivel out there, guys. I care about y'all. I want y'all to be happy. I want everybody to generally be in a better mood. So stay positive. Exactly, Andrew. People need something to bitch about, so they pretend like everything is worth bitching, and I am just tired of it. Tired of it. Live and let die. Exactly. Or live and learn, if you will. God, I'm legitimately so excited for the Sonic 3 movie. It's kind of weird. I don't remember the last time I was actually excited for a movie. And maybe Shin Kamen Rider and Shin Ultraman. But if we're talking American movies, maybe No Way Home, right? Movies is bad nowadays, but we're still getting something cool. My only hope for that movie is Big the Cat. I genuinely want a Big the Cat cameo. I'm not even joking there. But yeah, that's all there is, guys. Yeah. Oh hell yeah, it was good. Shin Kamen Rider was so good. All of that Shin series was amazing. Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and oh my gosh, why am I blanking? Godzilla. I kind of wish he would do a Shin Sentai, but I don't think Hideaki Anno was a big Sentai guy when he was growing up, so we probably won't get it. But still, the entire endeavor, very, very worth it. And then, let's see. Yeah, Zero says, the one game I'm interested in from the TGA lineup is the new Ninja Gaiden game. Yeah, let's just look at that real quick because you brought it up. The Game Awards. You guys want to know something, which is kind of crazy? So, obviously, this show has been running for more than a year now. I know we're on episode 51.111. You cannot wait for FF7. I went with the Ava naming scheme this week. But yeah, we've been on, I've been doing Good Mad Ugly for over a year. If you go back, episode 7 was actually about last year's Game Awards. So I'm like, hey, look at that, full circle. And it's also my lowest watched stream of all time. And I'm pretty sure that's because the thumbnail I made for it was just, I did my normal thumbnail work, but I used this Game Awards statue mascot thing. And I just think people don't care. I just think people are like, what the hell is that? And they just move on. So that was funny. But yeah, we got that Intergalactic, which who cares? It's Naughty Dog. It's Neil Druckmann. It's going to be more of the same where There's going to be a scene where your character is forced to kill somebody because you're running out of oxygen, and then you're going to discover that, oh, there was actually oxygen on the other side of the wall. And then Druckmann's going to be like, don't you feel so bad? Isn't humanity so harsh? Like, don't you feel so bad? And it's going to be like, dude, you made us do that. In Last of Us 2, I know it's in Last of Us 2. I can't remember the first one anymore. It's been a while since I played that. But in Last of Us 2, like, you've got to kill a dog as Ellie. And the game tries to frame it as like, player, I can't believe you killed the dog. What does that say about you? Reflect on that. But then it's like, I did that because I can't play the game if I don't do that. You put that barrier up there. This isn't player choice. This is locking the rest of the game behind something I need to accomplish. Naughty Dog did not sit. They are being a very, very naughty dog. They are tracking mud in the house, caveat ties. It looks like they're squatting to drop a poop right now. I don't know if it's a full poop. It might just be a scoot, but we got to keep our eyes on them. The Game Award looks like Bob from Reboot. Oh, holy crap, it does. I didn't even realize that. You're totally right. I don't even like that. Like, I like Bob, and I like that comparison. I don't even really like the statue that they hand out. Let's see. So, yeah, we got that. Elden Ring, Night Rain. I know a lot of you guys out there are big Elden Ring fans. I know, for example, Andrew is a big one. I'm not a big Souls guy. Again, it's mostly... I actually really like the gameplay, but I can't get behind sword and sorcery. You know what I mean? Especially one that goes this hard into, like, the sword and sorcery of it with, like I love... If Andrew's here, like, he knows, like, all the monsters and stuff. I love all those designs. If you put a helmet, like a space bubble helmet on them, cool, let's do this. Let's fight. Yeah, exactly. To the lands between. That's what I've been hearing, Zero. Like a Souls-like Monster Hunter. That's what people have been describing it as. Caveat, you joke, but they're doing a Bob the Builder movie with the guy from the Transformers Rise of the Beast movie. Like Anthony something. I can't remember his name, but that guy is going to be Bob. Yep. No Souls-like for me. I like the gameplay. Like, I really do. I like the challenge of it. I like the strategy of it. It's just, I really don't care about killing big rats and slime blobs. I want to kill some aliens. Yeah, I've seen better exploration choices from old interactive movies and video games than Last of Us Part 2. Everything. Not Anthony Hopkins. Shut up, Cabby. Anthony Hopkins was in that other Transformers movie, all right? Last Extinction. Wait. Age of Extinction? Whatever it was, right? Or The Last Night? One of those two. I watched both of them on a plane. They're both very bad. Yeah, Sakura. A lot of video games... I mean, we're not going to talk about it because it's not part of the Game Awards, and I also don't care about them as a developer or the franchise or the game. But the Assassin's Creed Shadows. Oh my gosh. Assassin's Creed Shadows, they just announced that for the first time ever, they're introducing a mode in the game that it's called Canon Mode, and it will, instead of allowing you to make like player choices about, you know, what to say or who to take with you, the game will do it in the way that sort of most naturally vibes with what is canon to the writing, which is like, I know a lot of people are crapping on that and going, oh, nobody wants to play the actual game now. And I actually have a different viewpoint on that. And to me, that makes it more like an old video game, because I like player choice to a certain extent. You know, I like, who do you want to take with you? Who do you want to date in Final Fantasy VII? What costumes do you want to wear, right? Do you want to go challenge this boss, or do you want to go challenge that boss? Do you want to do this? There are good player choices you can make in video games. Another great one, again from Final Fantasy VII, is do you want to try and take the elevator up to the Shinra president's office, or do you want to run up the stairs, right? One will have more fights, but the other one's longer. You know, they have sort of the same end goal, but there's different experiences and ways to do it. You can do good player choice. However, I have found that the concept of player choice really, really gets kneecapped by the fact that we live in a world where we can't make essentially like a generative AI ending for a game, right? We can't make a game that takes into account every single different thing you might do. So early on, when I was playing games with player choice, when they were sort of better about presenting you with multiple endings because they weren't so concerned with, franchising and that sort of stuff, it was great, and you would see the differences. But then there would be moments where it's like, I feel like if you're saying you don't trust this faction, you should maybe say something about the fact that my character is talking to you in full faction regalia, right? So there's always something that they'll never be able to take account for because it's a video game by just the sheer nature of having limited processing power and outcomes. So I've never been a big fan of video games that try to tell you your choices matter in this game, because they never do. So I kind of would rather we go back to that old sort of way of, this is the story we're telling, this is the canon way you do it, get to it, right? Like it's, I sort of see the canon mode as sort of like Ocarina of Time. There's a certain way you've got to go through all that stuff, and you've got to accomplish all your missions. But, like even if you go choose whichever order you want to do the temples, it all leads to where they're trying to get you to go. There's no illusion of like, oh yeah, Link, if you go do the sand temple first, you'll get this special out. Like, nothing like that happens. And that was a bad analogy. I don't know where I was going with that. But mic feedback, really? That's weird. I don't know what's happening. Maybe next week we'll have to actually do the upgrade if we're getting that bad. Pardon me. Well, okay, so... Oh, yes, thank you, Shinkai. Anthony Ramos, that's his name. Yes, thank you. So Zero brings up, Ubisoft just up and said they're doing away with everything that made Assassin's Creed what it is. I see the argument, but I'm going to push back slightly. Because to me, Assassin's Creed was never about player choice, about, what outcome do you want. Assassin's Creed is about, at its core, it should be about that age-long battle. The core of Assassin's Creed should be, for the entirety of human history, there have been these two factions fighting, and every conflict in the history of everything centers around these two. So what you should be doing is you go into the past, you kill some people by reliving the memory, and then you meet the historical figure, you talk to them, you interact with them, you learn something. It is, to me, Assassin's Creed is one of the more proto-story type games. So taking away choice doesn't really mean a lot to me. And so, like, yeah, I mean, it's just, there, you still have your assassinations, you still have the Templars and the Assassins. All of that stuff is still there. For all the problems we have with what they're doing with Shadows specifically, with what Ubisoft is doing in the game industry in general, I can't fully say, oh, this is not an Assassin's Creed, it's completely thrown out the window. Because it's still got that stuff, even if the rest of the trappings around it are kind of awful. Yeah, Andrew here. Sometimes things like a big empty open world or player choice is used to cover for an unpolished game and unfinished game with strong gameplay. Player choice, no, there we go. I jumped, hold on. Okay, cool. It's not loud, but a soft, fuzzy sound. We've heard that. Okay, you have, not here, but like we've heard that on, it's happened on 0-1 before. It's happened over on Tooneytown. I do need a new mic. Like, that is just a fact. But I hope this one's not like dying right now. Yeah, Timon, too much freedom sucks. That's what Andrew meant. Used to cover for an unpolished and unfinished game that lacks strong gameplay. And yeah, it often is. And because I also think what happens is developers get ambitious, especially because so many games are narrative focused nowadays, or narrative centric rather. Too many developers get focused on like, let's give them this expansive story. And then that sort of will evolve into choose your own adventure. And then let's make them part of the story and give them choices. So then they focus way more on that the gameplay side of it is developing in a different way that might not really line up with what you're trying to do over there. So you have this big, long dialogue tree or conversation options, but the gameplay team they were just like, hey, check it out. You can, now you can do 4 sword slashes in a combo instead of 3. I'm kind of thinking of Dragon Age Veilguard right now. Like, I'm not going to lie, but, yep, there was a thud. Yeah. Every time I keep moving my hands, because my arm is right here, like I sometimes bump into it. I'm trying because of you, Volume Dealer. I am trying. Yeah, exactly. Timon already called me out on it, so I'm trying for you guys. And then yeah, Assassin's Creed is not an RPG. It should be far more linear than most games, right? To me, the problems with Assassin's Creed spawn from its gameplay, which is just that it gets really stale really fast. You do your first 2 assassinations, and then that's all you've got to do for the rest of the game. And then even when they try to open up side content, it really is just either go here, collect item, go here, talk to person, or go here and fight 2 people. It's, there's not... Like in the Arkham games, one of the cool things is that as you keep going through the game, you unlock more abilities or you unlock more parts of the map. Assassin's Creed does like the map thing, but not really the abilities. You kind of just have the same moves the entire time throughout most of the series. Sometimes a character might get a new weapon or 2, like Eivor got an axe and Edward got a gun, but you're still doing that same very, very, very basic gameplay loop. And remember, it's not even really complicated to assassinate people. You just got to go up behind them and push a button. So I would like to see a more action turn to Assassin's Creed, but that's sort of all irrelevant because I tapped out of that series a long time ago. I tapped out of that series after 2. I didn't even play 2. I was interested in 2, and I checked out all the media, and I watched a friend play it, but I was just like, I've already done this. I've already played 1. And then they kind of like screwed the pooch with 3, which made me really upset because I really want to see more media in colonial America era or like Victorian London area, whatever that time is. And that's what it was. That's what 3 was. And then they didn't botch it per se. They just botched the entire game. Like that game was just a badly constructed game. Oh yeah. Thank you, Volume Dealer. Yes. Thank you for letting me know. I'm glad. And I am aware. Yeah, Timon, I was going to make that joke, and then I saw something that Andrew read, but yeah, like, hey, I'm using my hands. And then Sakura says, can't wait for Virtua Fighter. Hey, man, you got to chill out. We're not there yet. So then we also got a new trailer for The Witcher. I am not a big Witcher fan. Again, sword and sorcery. I am very interested in the games, specifically because I am fascinated with the development that CD Projekt Red did on like 1, 2, and 3. Just like you want to talk about like player choices and expansive open ranging stories. Those games do it, specifically like 3, right? So I've always been really impressed with them. I've always wanted to play The Witcher just to engage with that. What do you want to call it? Like that system? Because it's so, I watch so many like game dev videos about it. It's just, you gotta admire the art, the artistry of it all. So I'm happy for you Witcher fans. I'm, good for you. I'm kind of indifferent to it. That's what I've heard, Timon, that Witcher 3 is the only one that matters in the franchise. I definitely have heard that. And then like, I still have some weird interest in checking out 2 because I heard 2 has a pretty good story. And then 1, I only want to check out there's like a mod that kind of fixes everything and like wraps up storylines and stuff, and it takes inspiration from like the books to do it. I want to play it that way. Just I know it's not going to be the real way, but I want it all full. Yeah, exactly, Andrew. Witcher 3 set a new standard for that type of gameplay and mechanics. Witcher 2 is phenomenal. It's all I've ever heard. So I know they are good games. It's put Geralt in a spacesuit, give him like a robot arm, give Ciri some laser eyes, and I am in. The one thing I think I would really say about this game is a lot of people right now are showing their ass because a lot of people right now are being babies, and they're going, oh no, look, it's going woke. Look, it's a female protagonist, strong female. I can't believe The Witcher's doing that. And if anybody is doing that, I want you guys to just like rest easy knowing you can kind of disregard their opinion, because it shows that they don't actually care about the series. Because 1, if they read the books, they would know that Ciri is just as important of a character, if not more so, than Geralt, to the point where Geralt says in the books, like, this is her story. This is not my story. This is her story. And 2, Witcher 3, most of those endings set her up to be the next protagonist. Now, I have heard from a lot of fans that there are lore issues with Ciri being specifically a Witcher because it's supposed to be male only. I can't really speak to all that, but what I can speak to is giving CD Projekt Red sort of the benefit of the doubt here, because I think with their previous handling of The Witcher and with the work they've done on Cyberpunk, so in both, not the initial Cyberpunk, but in recovering Cyberpunk and then in developing and producing Phantom Liberty, I think they've sort of earned, which sucks for, you know, where we are in culture, but that's where we are because we've been burned so much. I think they've earned a benefit of the doubt to sort of see where they go with it. Like I was talking to somebody on Twitter last night, new guy, new follower, cool guy, but he was talking about, like, my big complaint is that series, there's something about, like, you know, women can't be witchers and there's a potion that should poison you if you take it. He was explaining this to me and I was like, you know what? Those are all valid concerns. I definitely hear that. Let's see what they do. Maybe there's an explanation. And if there is, then we can all go, okay, cool. If there's not, then we can get, you know, upset. But the problem is, if you just get upset now and then it turns out, look, we have an explanation the entire time. You look like a dumbass, right? Now everybody goes, oh, you're just a reactionary knob. Nobody should believe you. So Ciri being the star of this game, not a problem. Her model, her facial model, not a problem, guys. Genuinely, there is nothing mannish about her face. She is just, this is what a slightly older woman over what Ciri would look like, especially with a more detailed model. I think everybody is forgetting that, is that we don't have the bloom anymore, washing things out. We don't, like, that's just an older woman. She looks good. Like, there is nothing wrong with this. So anybody who's kind of crapping their pants over any aspect of this right now, yeah, just kind of, you know to keep scrolling. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Timon, that's the thing, right? Ciri's not a Witcher. She can't be. And I'm probably using the terminology wrong, and like Wolf's pointing that out there too. They haven't shown Ciri to actually be a Witcher in this trailer. Again, outsider looking in. I'm not trying to speak over you guys. All I meant was just that there might be there's going to be an explanation for the things that she was able to do. Maybe it's a potion. Maybe it's, I don't know yet. I don't even know. I don't want to speculate because it's just going to make me sound dumb. But yeah, I'm here to give CD Projekt a chance and say, explain to me. Let me see. And then I'll crap my pants. Kind of, you know, to get, ooh, that's a good one. Helen Mirren to play older Ciri now. I'm very bad with casting and actors and stuff, but I agree with you, Andrew, but also, like, this Ciri model reminds me of somebody, and it's bugging me because, like, I can't land on it. It's not Helen Mirren, but, like, I feel like I know this actress, like, or some actress who really fits in that type. Yeah. And then you bring that up too, apart from taking the Witcher tonic. So, yeah, she trained partly by Witchers. So apart from taking the Witcher tonic, she knows how to fight like one. So exactly. There's a lot of things we could, yes, an older Nicole. Okay. That's closer. It's going to come to me. I'll probably like run into your, like DMs on Sunday, or I'll text you and I'll be like, oh my God, I freaking found it. The Dawn actress from Titans, says Shinkai. Let's see who that is. Dawn actress Titans. So while I look that up, Sakura says, I'm not sure if CD Projekt Red can pull a Metro 2033 game series move. In what regard do you mean that, Sakura? There's a lot of ways like that you could mean that, and I just want to make sure we talk about the right one, because I do not want to do you a disservice. Oh my goodness, I didn't even think about this woman, but wow, Shinkai, holy moly, she is like, this is our live action series. Dang. Like that, she looks, yeah, she could play it. Still maybe a little on the younger side in this shot, but then there's a shot right here where she's got even the side braid. So I can definitely see this one. And now I think you've ruined it, Shinkai. Now I don't think I'm going to be able to think of anybody else. So way to go, buddy. But yeah, so cool for you Witcher fans. I'm really excited for you guys. Let's see how it all plays out. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Let's wait to see how it plays out, and to sort of just, give you guys an example of what I mean by that, and to show you that it can be done. It's sort of like when Andrew and I picked up the all-in issue of The Flash for DC, last month. They introduced this plot point where there were two different Wallies. Like, there were two Wallies in two different places. Full figures, like full humans and everything. We both, that's how the issue ended, was them discovering there were two of them. So Andrew and I went, that could be bad, but that could be okay, depending on how they write it. And while we both, had our eyebrows raised, we went, okay, we'll see. We'll wait. Unfortunately, it did turn out that it was awful, and we are going to rant about it. We just haven't had time. But that's sort of what we mean, right? Is speak softly and carry a big stick. Just wait. Just try to get as much information as you can before, making such a strong judgment. So, yes, Witcher 4 might be cool. This I'm really excited for. New game from the director of Shadow of the Colossus and Ico, Fumito Ueda. I love both of those games. Those, again, are some of the peak video game experiences. A lot of times so I really hate, she was Dawn. She was Dawn in Titans, the bird-themed superhero who's all about peace with the blue and white cards. Okay, but the first bingo number was drawn? What are you talking about? And then, Shinkai, aim twice, shoot once. Perfect. I like that a lot. I'm going to start adopting that. So, new game from Ueda. A lot of, so do you remember Hawk was it? So if you watch Titans, do you remember Hawk, Reacher? The guy who played Reacher, Alan Jackson or whatever his name was. He was the red and white suited superhero who was like super violent all the time. His partner was the female Dove, who's about like peace. Okay, yeah. So Hawk and Dove, they are superheroes from DC. They are like, one of them is, Hawk is all about being violent and strong, and then Dove is all about, being peaceful and agile, and they're kind of a cool duo, but they don't get a lot of play. But those two actors in that show actually did a lot. They did it really well. And yeah, Alan Richardson, whatever his name is, being as Hawk is actually really, really impressive. For all the problems that show has, and it has a lot of them, the casting wasn't one of them. I have to admit, casting was really on point. Like, even, except for who Starfire was, but even then, of course, I don't like the race swapping. Like, that should have never happened. But the actress was just not a good Starfire character, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, you could have had a race swapped Starfire that was still acting like Starfire. This Starfire just acted sort of like your general YA protagonist. It wasn't great. Heck yeah. So Hawk and Dove, they do make an appearance, and even Hawk kind of gets like torn up. This is gonna suck bingo for which game? For which game are we talking? Are we talking about Witcher? Are we talking about any of them? If it's Witcher, I can see that. And I actually really like that. Actually, the first bingo number has been drawn for like when you have your suspicions, but you're not ready to go yet. I really, really, really like that, Timon. But yes, really excited about this new Ueda project. It's titled Project Robot right now. The teaser trailer here, very artsy in the way that he likes to make his stuff. Very, what do I want to say here? Feels very Shadow of the Colossus mixed with Death Stranding in the best possible way. So I'm very, very, very excited for this. So I don't really like that whole debate people have about, are video games art? Because in my opinion, video games are not art. A lot of what goes into the video game itself, the actual drawing, the illustrations, the writing, the acting, the design, the coding, the programming, all of that stuff is art. You can look at that piece of coding. If you took the piece of coding from Xenoblade Chronicles 1, and you looked at the code for this is when to play and how to play Shulk's voice line of I'm really feeling it. I would go like, that's art. Look at how they crafted that. Look at how they made it all work. Takes craft. But the completed package of a video game is not art, because those are always primarily sold for profit. And, you know, a lot of production, the higher ups will make production moves to that override an artistic intent to maximize profits, right? You know, whether that's cutting a part of a story out like they did with MGS5, or releasing part of a story as DLC like they do with most every other game on the planet. So to me, the game, a business, a product, everything that goes into it, art. However, I would always, if there were any games to be considered art, it would be these, like, it would be Ueda's. It'd be Ico, Shadow, and possibly this Project Robot, because these use and push the medium in the way that only the medium can. The way it communicates its emotion, its story, can only be done in interactivity, in the player's decision. And that's what makes it great. Again, that's what video games should be, not walking movie simulators. Somebody said it earlier, or maybe I saw it on Twitter earlier, but like, if just make, somebody was like, oh, Assassin's Creed's just having canon mode now? Just make a movie. We know you want that. And yeah, most developers nowadays just want to make movies. So I am always a fan of games that actually are games. And they have to be fun, because something like Journey, yeah, that's really pretty, and I would say that that's closer to art, but that's not really a game. You made that as a art piece first, game second. These are being made as game first, art second. So that little distinction really helps sell it. Oh, absolutely, Timon. Paintings and books were also made for profits, and I sort of have the same attitude towards those, right? Which is, you know, the book itself, not necessarily art, but the writing and the story and everything that went into it there, that's art. Painting gets a little harder since it's like it is what it is, like it is that item, but even still, right? So a lot of times paintings would be commissioned by an individual or church or whatever, and they would, it was only being made for them. So they might come in and they might go like, can you change that? Maybe I want like a different saint. Oh, that color's not going to work great in my, in my window coming down on my parishioners, things like that. But it was always sort of ultimately for their own use. They weren't going, yes, can you paint this so we can go out and sell 1,500 copies of it so that we can get paid, right? It was like, I'll pay you. Good, you've been paid for that painting. Now I will go use this painting. I'm either going to hang it. Maybe I'll draw people into my restaurant or whatever with it. But I'm not selling the painting per se. Now we're getting into the very and I am not saying that art. I do not believe that either. I don't think art can exist without money. I mean, it can, but higher level art, bigger productions, of course they need money. But that's why when I see a movie, yes, that to me is a product that is being sold for money. But if I look at the camera work, if I look at the acting, if I look at the script, those individual creations are the art of it. This is where we get into the very pretentious, like, what do you view as art? What do you consider art? And I don't mean you, Timo. I mean, like, this is where the general conversation always goes, because I know this from having been a liberal arts student in college. Like, this is always where it goes. It's like, hey, yeah, I do. Like, what about art and money? And then everybody always just like gets into their own, well, you didn't say that, you didn't see this. So it's complicated and nobody is 100% right. I was just sort of saying my viewpoint. And I, if a video game has DLC, I kind of throw it out of the art category altogether, because I'm like, all right, now you're just bilking stuff. Yeah, if only I had the time to continue Xenoblade, and if only Marvel Rivals wasn't so damn fun. Let's see. Final Fantasy 15, where'd that come from? What are we talking about? Did I miss something? I would consider everything that went into that game very much art. The game itself, not so much when you have a giant cup of noodle product placement in it. You know what I mean? It's all complicated. There's lots of hairs to pull, and nobody's ever going to have like the one right answer. But I think, generic you've got it. I think we all understand. So I think we're all in the same ballpark, even if we might be sitting in different parts of the stands. But I think we all at least understand. Like, I understand where Timon's coming from. I think Timon knows where I'm coming from. His argument is completely valid. I think parts of my argument are completely valid. So what? Yeah, this is where the conversation always just gets super subjective. So with that, cool. Very excited for this new robot game. Let's get more space robots. Borderlands 4. I don't even have an emotion for this. I don't care about Borderlands, guys. Like, I really, really, really don't. I liked the idea of the first one because the selling point of the first one, if you guys remember, was every time you go out, you will find new loot. You can customize your gun. No two guns will ever be the same. And they accomplished that through like random generation. And it was a good idea. It was really fun for the first couple hours, right? And like, that's what sold me on playing it one weekend with a buddy in college, one weekend, my buddy and I, we were like the only ones left in our dorm room or in our dorm hall building, whatever you want to call it. So we borrowed one of our other buddies' copy of Borderlands to play together, and we were having a lot of fun. And we really liked the idea of like, oh yeah, check out my gun. It's different than yours. Well, yeah, check out what I can do. And it's like, oh man, Spence, I need help over here. Like, you have the sniper. I've only got the shotgun. So I can be like, all right, I got this. Really cool. But then there's just really not anything to do with it. It's sort of, you get into the same sort of gameplay loop, which is you go here, you kill enemy, you get loot, you maybe upgrade. It stops being fun. And it all sort of really melts away once you realize that you're not really modifying your gun so much as you're just doing the very, very tired, like percentage gear system. The best, like Diablo does it, Injustice 2 does it, where, oh, do you want plus 2% to not being peed on by dogs? Wear this helmet. Yeah. Like, it's boring. Like, that stuff is so tedious. Like, it was tedious back then when it was new and Borderlands was like the first one doing it. It's tedious as hell now where Borderlands is on the out and we know what the last two games, 3, 4, if you want to count like spinoffs, we know what the writing was like. We know what the game was. It was just, it's cringe. It is weaponized cringe. Like, that's all I can really say about Borderlands. Yeah, see, and okay, I love that, Timon. So Timon goes, my art definition has many points. The first is that it should not be easy. Agreed. And then the rest is too long to debate here. I love that bit. I love that they're like, just as the pretentious nerd I am, I love that you have this big old spiel about art. I want to hear it someday. I genuinely do. Spinoffs. Oh yeah. Even without the movie, they should have just stopped at 3. That's what Andrew's saying here. I loved up through Borderlands 2, but pre-sequel was half-baked, and 3 pissed me off when they killed off my favorite character. See, like, I can't even... I get your guys' like for 2 and maybe 3, but just to me, after 1, it was just the same tired joke over and over again. Aren't you a badass? All of that sort of, like, on-the-nose writing, just unfunny, trying to be funny, Reddit level. It's just... The setting and the worlds and everything, there's lots of interesting stuff to mine there, no pun intended. It's just everything else that sort of surrounds it is so annoying that I kind of just don't care anymore. So good luck with this. I don't know how well Borderlands 4 is going to do, given where the franchise's rep now is with not just the games, but like Sakura said, the movie. And then I just want to point this out, like, Where's the group shot? There's a group shot of them walking. I guess this is going to be the best we get of it. It's like 2 on 2. These character designs they're not fun, right? Like, there's nothing really unique to them. They feel very, very like create a character generic. And they don't even feel like they're Borderlands characters. Honestly, they kind of feel like Overwatch characters, which is also not a compliment because Overwatch doesn't have it's lost its own sense of aesthetic long time ago. Like when Overwatch 2 came, after that hero what's her name? Sojourn, the black lady with like the white dreads, and she has like the robo legs and the like laser rifle. After her, all the Overwatch characters all that they've introduced just don't feel like Overwatch characters. Like they're not a part of that actual game. So, right, exactly. Like they feel so generic next to Borderlands 2 and 1's characters. And that's, even I can admit that as somebody who's not that big of a fan of the game. People like Lilith, oh gosh, I'm forgetting the other guy's name that I really used to like. But yes, you had distinctive characters who were cool, and these, like I said, these look very much like creative characters. Very, nothing stand out about them. Nothing sells like, oh, that's cool, I want to play as them to me. The best compliment I can give is that this dude over here looks like David from Cyberpunk Edge Runners. That's really all I can say. And even then, remember, David's look is supposed to be hyper generic because it's just supposed to be like a safety coat and pants, but it's triggers stylization that makes it iconic and memorable to us. So yeah, looks like the Bride of Chucky. Borderlands is one of those one and done projects. If you're talking about the movie, yes, they shouldn't have done that in the first place. If you're talking about games, I'm always of the opinion that, you know, at least with Borderlands, I think it's a property where you could have done more, or you can do more things. I think you need to allow yourself the freedom to break out of what makes Borderlands 1 popular, though, right? Or wow, why did I say that with such a weird cadence? Break out of what made Borderlands 1 popular, right? Because like, we get it, the group of four, that they got to go mine this vault, and they all have super quirky, like, LOL random dialogue. We get it. Can we go do, you know, maybe there's another planet's coming to invade, or just any other plot that's just not, you're another vault hunter, go hunt vaults. They're not giving anything. Like, I know a lot of people liked, is that what it is, Andrew? The pre-sequel? Whatever the Telltale one was. The adventure game. I know a lot of people liked that. And, like, from what I've seen, it has decent-ish writing for a Borderlands game. But it also did something new, right? Like, it gave you a plot. It wasn't just, oh, we're vault hunters. It was like, we have to go steal from Handsome Jack or whatever his name was. And they did stuff. So I think Borderlands at least has it's like capable of producing and serving as like fertile ground for sequels, but they just really haven't pulled it off at all. They just keep doing the same one over and over and over and over and over and over again. And rarely are they really adding any new gameplay. Like, they kind of, you know, blew their load, to use a sort of gross phrase, with the first game by putting in that random gear customizable thing, because that seems like it would have been something you would have introduced in like 3. Be like, we're ending the series, let's go. And then maybe if you did a 4, you're like, guess what, we're bringing it back and we fixed it. But that's been all of them, like, this entire time. So there is nothing new there. Where's my water? There it is. Like, remember Lilith? Like, she's all red, but her hair is like fiery red, and her coat's fiery red, and her tattoo is very vibrant. I don't know why this chick's so muted. Like, maybe that's killing it too, is like, for all its flaws, Borderlands was at least colorful. And these guys are very just, all of this except, like, what is that, Valorant? None of this feels like, this isn't Borderlands, right? Like, even, Andrew, you gotta be in here, because, like, I'm looking at this, and even with my small knowledge of Borderlands, none of this feels like this all feels like generic FPS. Like a first-time studio wanted to make an FPS based in CD Projekt Cyberpunk or something. Like, it doesn't feel colorful. It doesn't feel vibrant. It just feels stale. It feels bad. She looks kind of, I will admit, she looks kind of cool. I do kind of like that design for that lady. Very, very Storm-esque, if you will. But I will admit that I like that design. But, like, everything just feels a little too realistic, a little Yeah, I think that's part of it too, Timon. I think that's true. No cell shading. Yeah, or like it's there, but they've toned it down like really, or maybe it's like barely there. You know what I mean, Timon? I'm sure you guys all see it out there. Like it's barely there. Everything here feels more like a Xenoblade map than it does a Borderlands map. Yeah, I think too clean is part of it. Too clean and too realistic. Yeah, I think you're probably hitting it better, Timon. Too clean, but it doesn't feel Borderlandsy. Just like where's all the gold? I don't know, man. Yeah. And then, we get it. Pod racing. Yeah, whatever. We spent too long on Randy's bad game. Sakura says, yeah, stuff like this is why people like me believe the new video game crash. All right, look. I want one so bad. I am right there with you, Sakura. I fully want one, and I fully believe we're headed towards one. My hesitation and the fact that I'm not just like, yeah, is that because... And this is going to blow out a little bit, but sort of relates to things. Because of how fake our economy is right now, right? A lot of, anybody with the most bare sense of business should be able to tell you, like, our stock market should not be this high. Companies like Disney or EA or Sony should not still be, global powerhouses. But because of the way the world works with money and funding and all that sort of stuff, that we can prop up industries artificially. Again, not to get into it, but during like the COVID pandemic, as somebody who knows business and economics and has holdings in the stock market, I saw so much manipulation that goes against every fundamental of not just like stock analysis, but common sense. Like I would see companies go, oh yeah, we've posted $400,000 loss, and we're not, we're probably on the way to bankruptcy, and their prices shoot up. Like, it's all fake. So and my point to that is I don't know when it'll come. I know it's coming. I don't know when it's going to come. So I don't want to get my hopes up, but we genuinely need just like an entertainment crash, honestly, like TV, movies, video games, not so much like books and stuff, because books are a whole nother area of whatever, everybody, the genres exist for everybody. That's probably the most libertarian medium of everything. Everybody can come. There's always something there. But in terms of, screen media, there's just too much right now, and people are producing things just to produce things, and nobody is watching them. And and that's a dual problem, because on one hand, nobody's watching the really bad stuff because they go, oh yeah, everything's going to be bad. So nobody's tuning in. But nobody's watching the really good stuff either, right? Like I have a lot of friends who always tell me, you watch this new show on like Apple Plus on whatever. And I go, I've literally never fucking heard of this. And they go, yeah, us neither. It wasn't until we heard it, like one person talking about it on a podcast and it's, so we're in this area where everybody's vying for very limited time and attention and money. And yet nobody really wants to step back and, go, okay, how do I set myself apart now in this era? Do I make better product? Do I make, a new gameplay style? Do I do something like that? They instead go, just make it. Try and capitalize on that trend. That's one of the big problems, is that a lot of developers now are chasing trends rather than going, oh, I have an idea. Let's try this out. Which that's how you get trends. You try something new. You go, I've seen this. Let's take inspiration. Let's try that. But instead, and it's very cyclical, right? Remember, we had a bunch of God of War clones back in like the early or the mid to late 2000s. Then we had a bunch of, Pokemon clones before that. We have Call of Duty clones. We have 1,000,000,004 Battle Royale games. We have 1,000,000,004 hero shooter games. And as we're seeing, if you're not doing something, if you're not exceptional, you're going to fail. Again, Marvel Rivals versus Concord, and not just Concord, but something like Sega's Hyenas or Lawbreakers, or I wrote an article on it, and I just found so many live service hero shooters that have just failed because people are just trying to chase it and make that instead of making something new and improving upon that and giving something else to people. People are already getting a hero shooter, right? They don't need 400 that try to vie for their attention at the same time. So what I would love is in the future, movies, TV, I know it would suck economically, not just for, it would economically suck for both everybody in the country and across the world, because these are big industries we're talking about, and it would hurt, the actual employees who are laid off and have to go find new jobs or whatever. Heart goes out to them. But I feel like it's one of those, cut out the infected flesh point and then let everything heal, because I think if we keep on this path of just throwing money at everything, as much as we all know and presume that, lots of things like BlackRock or Vanguard or just investors will prop up companies like Disney or Ubisoft, at a certain point, like, the reality is, guys, these companies can't weather $400,000 losses in a row. 1 or 2, sure, maybe even 3 or 5. But once it becomes the trend, something's going to have to give. And what's going to give more before people putting out the media is people consuming it. So I generally think that we need to get to a point where everything crashes, everything consolidates really hard, and sort of to like what Timon was saying, to really make the artistic industries into unpopular ones again, really difficult ones again. Or maybe not difficult, because I'd love for, artists to be able to get jobs and more freely move around the industry. That's a whole sort of other topic. The meeting of reality with my artistic romanticism. But I think if the industry was unappealing again, and it was rough, and it wasn't, all these industries weren't seen as sort of like stepping stones to something else. Once you have the people who stay, who are like, I really want to make video games, I really want to make a TV show, I really want to make movies, that's when we're going to start getting better stuff. Things that are more passionate, things that have more soul, things that are closer to art than not. And we'll get there. I just don't know when. I just want it to happen very soon. So I'm right there with you. I'd also just like a general pause on new media for like 10 years for everybody in the world. Like, get me Magneto, have him go out, EMP the world, and let us just hang out for a little. Let me read my comics, my video game. I know, Spencer, that if Magneto EMPs, your computer goes down. Shut up. Let my dream happen. Let my dream happen. Let's see. Bingo, Sakura. Exactly. Same thing with normies. Like, people want Power Rangers to be either MCU or CW shows. Exactly. Too many of... Once these industries became very... I don't want to say accessible, but more open, right? Once like video games and movies and TV, and it's probably in that reverse order. Like, movies were viable first, then TV, then video games. As those industries become viable and you start bringing in the normies, that's when you start getting the normie opinions and people start listening to them. And that's where things sort of all go downhill from there. I brought this story up many, many, many times. Shut up, Andrew. All right. Be quiet. Be quiet. I do just want an excuse to catch up on my backlog. I'm sorry that you make me spend my free time rereading Ultimate Universe for like the 8th time because I needed to show you something and then I just get caught up reading it. That's on you, all right? You're the reason my backlog is growing. My lawyers will see your lawyers. But back to your point, Sakura. So once all these people come in and they don't really have an affinity for what the product is you're working on or the medium or the IP or any of that stuff, right? If they don't understand it, they're not going to, all of their input, all of their approaches to it they're going to feel off. They're going to feel out of place. They're going to feel disconnected. And it's exactly where we've gotten, right? Where Simon Bennett, the guy who was in charge of the Power Rangers brand, was straight up like, we need to move away from Toku for Power Rangers because that's kitty baby shit. Nobody wants kitty baby shit. All right. One of the best sort of anecdotes it's not a personal anecdote, but it's one that I like to raise to illustrate my point. You know what? That is your bad. what is your bad? But it's from Steven Spielberg. You know what? Here, let me just see if I can find it, because every time I try to recount it, I feel like I get it wrong, and somebody's gonna. Let's see. Is it this one? Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I found it. Let me get to the part. Okay. So, first off, this is going to be kind of cool because we're going to we're already on the web. I got to jump. So, this is actually kind of cool because the video source we're going to be able to use for this is actually from somebody some of you might know, I know, but shout out to the boys over at Echo Base. Nick and Coach, I've hung out with them a few times. They've been on Bounding streams. Super nice guys, super into Star Wars. Even to, they're probably some of the more intellectually honest YouTubers in our sphere. Like, they sometimes like things that we wouldn't, and they will defend it and they'll talk about it. Love these guys. But so what this is there's an interview where Steven Spielberg is talking about when Kathleen Kennedy was working on, I believe it's either, he'll probably say it once we get into the interview, but it's either Kingdom of the Crystal Skull or the one before that, Temple of Doom. It always like run those two, like Temple of Doom and Last Crusade always, no, it's Last Crusade, the last one, right? I always mix those two up. Whatever. You guys know what I mean? It's either Indy 3 or Indy 4 when Kathleen was there. This is Steven Spielberg talking about what she was like in the writer's room. So I'm going to unmute that, hit play.
41. Spielberg says he was so impressed with her organizing skills that he asked her to be his secretary.
So she's a good organizer. All right, we got.
Okay, Nick, are you going to do that the entire time? I just need to play this.
And she was horrible.
Okay.
Pad and her pencil, and she was.
That he asked her to be his secretary.
So she's a good organizer. All right, we got that.
Nick.
I remember Kathy came into the room, but
whoops,
didn't really know how to do it very well. But what she did know how to do was interrupt somebody and do it very well. She was horrible at taking notes, and she was terrible at. She didn't really know how to do it very
dog story.
well. But what she did know how to do was interrupt somebody in mid-sentence. We'd be pitching ideas back and forth, and Kathy, who's supposed to be writing these ideas down, suddenly put her pencil down and would say something like, and what if he didn't get the girl, but instead he got the dog?
How about he didn't get the girl, but instead nobody would go
Nick.
In the past that talked about how.
Is that it?
Here.
I thought there was more.
Let's talk about George and all of, because I don't think people understand. Let's just rattle.
Okay, I think that was it for the Steven Spielberg quote. But that's sort of what we're talking about, right, Sakura? So in that example, Spielberg's talking about how Kathleen was in the writer's room and she would just, when people were pitching, what if Indy gets the girl at the end of the movie? What if he gets the prize, whether it's like treasure, Marion, whatever. And she kept trying to subvert it, right? And I know nowadays subversion is a very dirty word. It shouldn't be. There are still really fun ways to subvert people's expectations. I will point everybody to Ultimate Universe 1 year in, one of the best issues I've read this year. You do not see it coming. It's great. But she comes in and she's just trying to subvert for the sake of subversion because it's not a subversion that's even based in reality, right? It's for example, okay, I'm going to just ruin that comic for you because again, everything just sort of really proves my point. It's really, really good. So, did it pop up? All right, here we are. Comic Talk, just to show you guys what I'm talking about. So, this is Ultimate Universe 1 year in, a new special that came out this week. Each Ultimate book is getting a 1 year special to sort of see what's been, catch everybody up in the 1 year that the maker has been locked away. The whole plot of the Ultimate Universe right now is that the maker has locked himself away. He's working on super secret science. He's going to be locked away for a total of 2 years. So everybody is sort of in a holding pattern. But while everybody's in a holding pattern, like Tony's assembling the Ultimates and Spider-Man and all that stuff. So regardless, here in this issue, we are introduced to the new Ultimate Nick Fury, who is the old white Nick Fury, the Howling Commando himself, if you will. And throughout this issue, we see Nick meeting with the, like in this page, the Makers Council, the evil, basically Illuminati who rules the world. And while he's briefing them on the situation of around the world, as you know, the master spy he is, he's recounting to the readers that I feel guilty about all of my work. I am going to try and make up for it. I am going to, you know, this is my last will and testament. I'm going to blow you all up. And we get to a point where he eventually tells them, yes, I am going, where is it? It is right here. He's like, self-destruct sequence on the helicarrier. I'm going to take every single one of you bastards out. You're coming with me. And then it doesn't happen. Everything in this issue makes you know that Nick Fury is the man. He is in charge, and then it doesn't detonate. And then when everybody goes, when he's like, what happened? We learn that it's not Nick per se, but it's the LMDs. So the council and the maker have taken Nick and have condemned him to this life of continually being reprogrammed as an LMD with new memories. He's always going to betray them, but when he does, they kill him, scoop out that part of his brain, put everything back in a new LMD, and go again. So that's a subversion of our expectations that works because it understands the character, right? It knows that Fury is a know-it-all bastard. They know he always has aces up his sleeves. We know that Nick is always the one who's going to have that plan to get out of it, but he doesn't. And not only does he not have that plan, but he's not even in control of his own body or anything. Like, he's not even a person, right? So yeah, exactly, Timon. It's a lot like Wanted. It totally feels like that, but sort of less edgy, if you will. I mean, come on, it's Mark Millar. We all know how he goes. Right, exactly, Volume Dealer. Could you imagine having an idiot around like that? The least creative person making suggestions. A true studio head. Exactly. That's exactly who you want. Not just being a studio head, but running your like a multi-zillion-dollar franchise, right? That's who you want. But yeah, so to your point, Sakura, that's sort of what we're looking at here, which is when the normies come in, they're coming in and they're looking at all of this stuff as jobs, or often, especially in TV shows or comic books or things related to nerdery, so comic book adaptations, video game adaptations, they view this stuff as we talk about all the time, inferior, immature. So they see it as stepping stones to better stuff. Basically like, I have to write a Spider-Man show. All right, well, I'll do it. But, I'm only here because eventually I'm going to go write for Grey's Anatomy. And so they just phone it in. They go, it's a job. Great. Done. When you do that, you get people like Kathleen Kennedy who are just throwing out ideas and you go, doesn't make any sense. What the hell are you talking about? Another great example is if you remember the Sony leaks from when they got hacked by North Korea and they leaked all those emails. There was that email from one of the executives who was like, whatchamacallit? Oh, in the next Spider-Man movie, should he have a TikTok? Should he be an influencer? Should he be connecting with all of his like followers and friends and fans all day? And it's like, that not only is that stupid and just the most like hello fellow kids thing ever, but it fundamentally misunderstands who Spider-Man is. Spider-Man's not out there popular celebrity. He's out there because he's basically like a super powered cop. He knows it's his duty. He's out there for a job. He's not there to influence you, to sell anything. He's there to make sure your ass does not get hit by a bus or taken out by the Vulture. So yeah, and like, that's what I'm talking about here, Sakura, is with Nick Fury, because Jonathan Hickman knows the character, knows comic book readers, knows how we all interact with this. He knows I can subvert it like this. This will be a good subversion. Otherwise, we end up getting all this stuff. We end up getting Kathleen Kennedy. We end up getting everybody being turned into edgy CW shows. So that's part of why I want the video game crash. I kind of just want all of that out there. I want it to be an unappealing medium again, so that only the true creatives, the true passionate people are working in it. I want, the idealist in me wants there to be a way where it crashes and then we recover in such a way that it's still profitable, but still very creator centric. I just, unfortunately, in from the history of the world as we know it and the current way the world is and all that sort of stuff, we know that that's sort of an unrealistic goal. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. Obviously, I always want to advocate towards something like that, but we'll see. But yes, I definitely agree. Crash it. Get like half of these developers out of there. Get Xbox, get Microsoft out of the video game. They do not want to be here. We can tell that. And then bring back Sniper Elite. I love those games to Hillam. You dropped this a while ago, but the one, I forget which one it was, but when they introduced the zoom and like follow function, I think that was in like 3. It wasn't in like the first one. I don't think. It's been a long time since I played those first ones. But that's like my favorite feature is like, oh yeah, look at that. I got him. Like I barely got him, but I got him. It's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, oh, I could go be an army sniper now. Hell yeah. So, yeah, I don't even remember how we got, because we were talking about Borderlands and subverting expectations and all that dumb stuff. So anyway, we were talking about video games. Back to the Game Awards, because we're coming up on the end of the show. We're not quite there yet. I can always hang out longer to get through everything we want, but let's keep moving instead of listening to Spencer's pretentious hour, shall we? So yes, in case this is the big one, in case you guys, I love Okami. I love, back before everything started going to shit around, I would say probably like 2012, 2011 in the video games industry, just all around. I was a Capcom fanboy because they were putting out just every type of amazing game, from a 2D beat 'em up in Beautiful Joe to, amazing fighting games in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 to a great Zelda-like in Okami. And Hideki Kamiya has always been one of my favorite creators because he kind of, to me, he leans into that philosophy more of, I want to make something genuine. Like I'm genuinely here with an idea rather than, oh, we got to make a game to pay for our, our stock. Our shareholders are being sad. They need a new game announcement. So Kamiya, new Okami, very, very, very much into it. Yes, Sakura, 100% agree. It better be cell shading or no buy. Right there with you. I also, because I know at least one of us in here, Zero, and I say that with love, buddy. But before anybody worries too much about, Capcom shepherding Okami, you can't really DEI this game up, right? It's based on Japanese folklore. It's all animals. We're probably fine. I don't foresee any of those problems. The worst thing that could happen to it, I think, is like what Sakura said, no cell shading. But I don't think we're getting that. Or if there is no cell shading, it looks like they're going to lean harder on the like painting aspect of it, at least from like these shots of Amaterasu running. So I'm not too worried yet. We'll see. Okami Den was really fun in case anybody played that on the 3DS. But yes, this is probably show stealer. Like one of if not the show stealer for me. This was the opposite. So this is fucking embarrassing. I don't really have any other descriptor for this. So what this is a new 2D Metroidvania inspired by Pac-Man, where, yeah, I mean, you guys are looking at it right here. It is just Metroid, but with Pac-Man. And what it is, basically the best way to, I didn't see that. Oh man, hold on. I got to pause. I didn't see that. I'm going to bitch. But this is essentially really like a grim, dark, edgy, weird take on Pac-Man. It is, if you guys watch The Secret Level, the Amazon show, the Pac-Man episode is basically a preview for this. The guy you're playing as is not Pac-Man, but as you can see, like Pac-Man's behind him. And what happens is he like eats into his back, and then that turns the dude into this like monstrous thing, and then he can eat things. I don't think I'm necessarily against the idea, but I think I'm against it as a Pac-Man thing. But the thing, yes, exactly, Zero. Pac-Man Act Zero. I made that joke to somebody else too, but it is 100% like Bomberman Act Zero. The thing I wanted that I just like shat my pants over goes back to what we were talking about with Rita's Rewind, which is I didn't realize this game is, to me, it falls under the classification of soulless, because watch when we get to the enemies that, like, there's like a green lion he fights and like another guy. But like, watch this. These are mobile games that do this a lot, where they do a full piece of art for a enemy, and then its animation is just sort of moving the pieces like that. And you can always, it always has this veneer, this sheen of fake, right? Because it's not built into the same engine. It's sort of moving in a different way. And remember in Scooby-Doo, when you used to watch Scooby-Doo, and Shaggy and Scooby would walk in somewhere, and they'd go, Scoob, I don't know where to go. Like, the ghost went somewhere. And there was always like a candlestick that you could tell was an animation cell rather than being drawn in the background. And you were like, that's going to move. That's sort of the same thing they're doing here. Back to like what Timon and I were talking about. They didn't try to sprite them. They didn't try to incorporate them into the game's art style. They kind of just did it and then threw the asset into like a very basic rig and made it turn around, right? No, it's not even Pac-Mega Man. Don't you do that to me, Timon. This is Pac-Man Act Zero. This is really bad. Oh, and then Timon also said, what if the game, it's like the movie's animation of Demon Slayer, Japanese painting? I would also be in for that. I think, I'm not going to speak for Sakura, but at least on my end, the most important thing is that it has to have a stylized look. It cannot just be photorealistic Amaterasu running around Unreal Engine 5 world. You've got to try to stylize it in some way, shape, or form. So this, I'm just not about it. Just not. It feels weird. Feels like you could have just done a new IP about something with. I mean, I don't know. Make it a Bloodborne thing. Make it an Elden Ring thing. Make it a brand new IP. You just didn't. Like I said, some of this looks interesting to me. Like, I like this idea of a guy being like dug into, and then he gets these weird like symbiote powers. But it's not Pac-Man. It ain't Pac-Man. From there, we had Outer Wilds 2. I really have nothing to say about this game. I didn't play the first one. I'm not big on these kind of games. These Western space sim explorer games. They all just kind of run together and feel sort of generic to me. They don't, like, I really like stylization in my games. Yes, we can have photorealistic graphics all day, but nowadays, since we've reached such high fidelity, what makes things stand out really is style. And I just don't get it from a lot of these types of games. So if you like Outer Worlds, I've heard it's good. I heard the people who like it. So good on you guys. I just really don't care about it. Yeah, there we go. Venom Pac-Man. That's a better approximation. This is probably the other big W for me. We are, as you guys know, I'm a giant fighting game fan, but we are finally getting a new Virtua Fighter. It has been forever. Pardon me. In case you guys don't know, this is being developed by the Yakuza team, the RGG Studios. Might be cool. I don't have the graphic here that I normally have on a foil variant, but I am excited. It's been a while. I'm always up for more fighters in this sphere. I'm glad that things like Tekken and Street Fighter are going to have more competition, and let's go for the Sega Renaissance. I am here for the Sega Renaissance. I'm very excited for it. Let's see. Split Fiction, a game from the creators of It Takes Two, a co-op-y type adventure game. It looks better than It Takes Two, but I also sort of just still don't really care. I feel like this is probably going to be a really, really, really good game. And like, if I was over at a buddy's house and somebody had it and we played it, I bet I would walk away from this like obsessed and singing its praises. But as it is, I kind of don't really, I wouldn't go out of my way to try it on my own. You guys know what I'm saying? Right? So not a bad outing, just doesn't feel like it's for me. Although that little bit right there where they're like they use the acid to melt the lock and then they use physics to bump it open. Very, very cool stuff. Like, I like that kind of stuff. Like I said, might be cool, probably is cool, just not something that's particularly up my alley, at least aesthetically. We will see. We shall see. Me Too, Volume Dealer, 2025 Street Fighter EX. I wish. They did do that EX Fighting Layer game which fulfilled my one wish of getting Skullomania and Akira back. But I want them back in like a real, like an actually good fighting game. Akira is giving me Street Fighter 6 Ryu vibes. See, I didn't get, you know who I got from him, Zero? I actually got, what's his name? Dante from Devil May Cry, because it feels with the long sweeping coat, the big boot cut jeans, and then the like black cowboy hat, feels very much like Dante in 5 when he gets, I forget what, it's not Cerberus, but when he gets that the hat weapon that I love so much. They better add Kiryu and Goro for this. Imagine the memes. I imagine that, like, I feel like they've got to, right? It's Sega already. Kiryu's already been in, what was it, Tekken? So something can be done here, right? Get him in there. You know what would be more fun, Sakura? Because I was like, who do you pick between Kiryu and Goro? Like, you could do both, but I also feel like that would kind of be a waste. Do Pirate Majima from the new game that's coming up. I think if they do that, it's a good tie-in. And it would be like a lot of goofy fun. That's what I'm up for. I can be into co-ops, but again, like, I have to be like, I want to sit next to you to do a co-op game. I don't want to do it online. So like I said, if I was at a buddy's house and he was like, hey, you know, my wife bought this or my kid bought this, I'd be like, all right, let's try it. And I'd probably love it. It looks fun. I'm just never going to go out of my way to grab it. Unfortunately. We looked at Split Fiction. This is another amazing one. More Capcom goodness. Onimusha. We were supposed to actually get this back in 2022, but thanks to the pandemic and then the kind of collapse of the industry that we're seeing right now, this has been delayed for a long time. But man, I am so excited for Onimusha. I can't believe it's been dead this long. Nothing bad to say. Even this trailer. I know it's a lot of pre-rendered footage and a little bit of gameplay, but I'm in for this. I hope it is more. I hope it's less Dark Souls-y, which is what it kind of hints at to me with the bigger enemies here. And I hope it's more like Onimusha used to be, sort of like a half Muso. We'll see. We will see, but this is good news for everything. I'm glad Onimusha's back. I hope we get like an HD remake collection or like an HD port, but more importantly, I hope we get that collection includes the Onimusha fighting game. I forget like what it was called now, but it was like a Smash Bros clone where you fought on platforms, but it had Mega Man Zero and Mega Man EXE, and I think Base EXE as playable characters. So I played that religiously for those three. I hope they bring it back. It's good times. It's good times. Sonic Racing is freaking back. We only got this teaser of Shadow's car, but I love these games, guys. If you have not played the Sonic Racing games, I personally like them more than Mario Kart. I think that's because they scratch sort of the similar itch to Diddy Kong Racing, which is my favorite kart racer. You know, the ability to switch between vehicles and, somebody might be able to race in a car and another person's in the air, but they're on the same track sort of stuff. And they're just very, very, like, good to play and to control. So I'm very excited for this. Really excited to see who they bring in as the guests this time, because they have, like, the last game had really random people. It had, like, people from Yogg's cast. It had the Heavy from TF2. So it had Danica Patrick, if you will. So there's going to be some surprises here. Very excited for it. I want it now. I'm glad we're getting a new one, because now we can take advantage of better, like, online ecosystems. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the track. Yeah, Sakura, me too. I hope it's still Samurai Resident Evil and not Samurai Dark Souls. We already have that with Neo. So again, like Leon fights like El Gigante. So you can have big boss fights. It's just about how are we doing them. You know what I mean? Rock and Roll Racing, okay, and Top Gear. I can agree with that. These are just my favorite because I like the more cartoony aspect of, like, being able to change into a plane like mid-race. That would be amazing. Don't you get my hopes up? Don't you? New Mafia game. Okay. I guess if people liked it, I know people do like these games a lot. I've never really cared about them. I had a girlfriend in high school who, like, religiously played Mafia 2, and it was like the only game she would ever play. I don't know why it was that one in particular. it's cool, I guess. The graphics are really great, but I really don't have a lot to say about Timothy Chalamet's mafioso ride. So if that's up for you, cool. I'm probably passing on it. New Turok game. I want to be excited for this because I have a soft spot for Turok from having played all the old games back in the day. But I think since like Turok 2, we've never gotten a good one. They've tried many times to give us a new Turok game and even revive Turok as a comic book. And it just, for some reason, it never hits. And I'm not sure why. It might be cool. I don't know. It feels very Horizon-y to me over Turok. We shall see. Hopefully might be cool. I don't know. More Helldivers stuff. I don't know much about this game. I don't play it, so I hear it's great. I know my boy Jorge plays it a lot. Nicola plays it a lot over at Bounding. I just don't know anything about it. I hope you guys, if you're still enjoying it, I hope you enjoyed this one. I heard that it dropped like already, so get to it. What are you doing here? Right, that's what I'm saying, Soccer. Like, I wish Turok would have been Dinosaur Doom. And the first two games were closer to that idea, right? They weren't so carnage heavy or arcadey, but they were closer to that idea. It feels like they're moving away from that. It feels like they went Call of Duty and now they're going gun Dark Souls. Here is what everybody is very excited about. I am super excited about this. We are finally getting a new Ninja Gaiden title and a 2D one at that, which, oh yeah, this is going to be fun. This is what I'm talking about. So you can see, like, when you hit an enemy, there's screen shake. There's a little bit of, like, temporary lag. You can feel contact. The enemy stuns for a second. Total opposite of what we were looking at with Rita's Rewind. But this game looks incredible. It looks like it's going to handle fantastically. And, yeah, see, it even got Zero's Cold Black Heart. This is the one game I'm interested in. Koei Tecmo, to me, I think, the more I think about it, I think they are my favorite developer. They do they do all the Musou games. They do the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. They do the Dynasty Warriors. I think they are my favorite, and they just keep releasing bangers. They keep winning all the time. Nothing wrong with them. Then, of course, the big news, as is highlighted in today's stream thumbnail, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth finally coming to PC. It only took us 7 months after the exclusivity window ended. If you guys remember, they dropped this game in February, said it was exclusive until the end of May. Radio silence since then. Now it's finally here. I'm genuinely stoked. I finally get to hang out with Yuffie and Vincent and Zach and get to see how they handle one of the big moments. And I mean, I know a lot of you guys don't care. I know, yeah, exactly. Like Timon's here. He doesn't care. I know Zero doesn't care. But I'm very, very excited. The only downside, I think, is that I'm going to have to upgrade my PC because this thing's requirements are kind of off the charts. Like, you need like 150 or like 120 gigabytes of solid state drive open just to play. Like, that's what you have to install it on. So I'll do it. But I'll grumble. I'm not upset because I still get to upgrade my PC, but I get to grumble about it. Yeah. Yep, the new Ninja Gaiden game looks great. It would have been nice to see another Ninja Gaiden 3D game. Pardon me. I agree. I agree with that, but I also wonder, like, would Koei Tecmo, and I trust them more than anyone, but would Koei Tecmo still have the balls in the day and age we're in now to go full, like, fuck you difficulty on that? Because those games are hard. And I don't think, most gamers nowadays probably wouldn't be okay with that. And I mean less like our kind of players and more like the casuals, the normies, the media, right? So I would trust them to do it. That would be the thing where I'm like, I'm not going to give you like all of my support until you answer this question. You know what I mean? So I'm still happy it's here because it still means Ryu's getting love. That 2D we saw didn't look like it was going to be easy, so hopefully they still keep that difficulty ramped up to 11. All in all, good move. Glad to see Koei Tecmo getting more stuff. I will be there. Yeah, 11 months after the game's original release, but I've done good, Zero. I have actually managed to avoid spoilers for this game. Even being a journalist for a site that covers this stuff, I have not spoiled myself on it. I will find anybody in this chat right now who does. I will find your location, and I will deal with you. But I'm pretty proud of myself on that one. Last of Us 2 to PC, all right, cool, remastered, whatever. There's nothing to say about that. Nothing to say about that. Yes, we have. See, I kind of wanted to. Now we're getting into like the indie stuff. Yeah, Don't worry, Zero. We're gonna talk about the Tekken thing. I don't think any of these other ones really caught my eye. This one's very worrying to me because on its face it has like a cool aesthetic, right? But it is all we got here was a cinematic trailer, and it's being overseen by the Russo brothers. They're like the executive producers of the game, like Avengers directors, Russo brothers. So I don't know. I kind of feel like, yeah, obviously they've got talent. They did the Avengers movies, Winter Soldier, all that stuff. I don't really know how to feel about this. They don't really have a history in games. This is a good cinematic, sure, but how's it going to translate to an actual game? We'll see. I'll be keeping an eye on it because there's at least like interesting designy type things in here, but also just not really that big of a meh. Bleh. This weird ass. Okay, I don't know what I'm just mad at this because this is another like visual novel that does the like ironic thing. Okay, what am I trying to say here? Like, oh, it's a visual novel, but we're going to make fun of visual novels. And, oh, isn't it so weird? Like, look at these quirky decisions we make. Look at these quirky options. Like, right here. Do you want to talk to the dog in the meth puppet voice or the cute voice? And then meth puppet is obviously like, no play.
My name's Beep and I'm naked.
Oh, no, I refuse to believe that's what he sounds like.
It's just that MCU ironic, like detached humor taken to 11. And I'm A, sick of that type of writing, and B, I'm sick of people going to the visual novel genre and going, oh, look at this ironic visual novel I made. I'm like, dude, fuck off. Visual novels have really good games, really good entries. Things like Danganronpa, things like Fate. Like, okay, you don't like it? Okay, why are you making this then? Like, why are you go make any... This is one of those ones where it's like, go make a TV show. You didn't want to make a video game, right? So, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, this is not any... Like, I hate this. The graphic fidelity looks okay, but... No, just all... This is bad. I want you to go away. I'm done with you. This will probably be a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys have played Overcooked, but this is a new multiplayer game from the Overcooked devs. I don't think we got any gameplay in this per se, but yeah, knowing Overcooked, this is probably going to be a lot of fun, especially if you do it in multiplayer. A cooperative experience bursting with Overcooked style chaotic moments and escape room-esque cooperation. So looks like it's a multiplayer escape room type thing. So we will check out about that. We will see about that. This is kind of, I'm not going to lie, this hits a really good spot for me. So this is a new game from the developers of Sifu, but it is a soccer game that also takes like their, very, what do you call it? Like limb modular, very unique sort of play style from Sifu and turns it into a soccer match. So instead of just doing very generic, like, oh, pass to them, right? You're going to be able to like angle, like do pop-ups and things like that on your own control. So I really, really hope this is good because we need more good sports games out there that aren't coming from EA or 2K. And also, this just seems like fun. It seems like a good spin on standard, soccer soccer gameplay. So if it's good, I would be really excited, and I really, really, really hope it is. I don't think it'll happen, but a deep down wish is could we get licensed teams? That would be super cool. Probably too expensive, probably too much work, but a man can dream. A man can dream. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Shaolin, it feels very much like Shaolin soccer. Not too extreme like that. Not in the like full superpowers, but in a lot of the, you know, control and the, yeah, control is the best way to do it. You have functionality over the ball outside of just tapping A, and then the computer says, oh, you're looking this way. This is probably the move you want. Do that. So yes, very, very much. And also, to your point, Sakura, I think that also helps sell this a little bit to me, or like piques my interest, is that, where was it? You can see they put like effects. So like there's that like burn effect right there, or like right there when he's sliding, which they don't do that in normal soccer games, understandably. But I think that goes back to what I was saying about style. This gives it an edge of style. It makes it a little more visually fun to look at, a little more exciting, because you're playing, you go, oh shit, red! Like, that's very obvious. Oh man. So yeah, very, very excited. I hope it's really, really good. Sifu's really, really good for what it is. Let's go. Let's go, Slow Clap. Exactly, Shinkai. That visual novel trying to be wacky doesn't know real wackiness like Sam and Max. And that's sort of what I was getting at with like the writing and the mention of like, oh, you're an ironically detached visual novel. A lot of these devs go, I'm going to make a visual novel because that's technically a video game, but it's also very story heavy. But because they don't consider Japanese things or anime things to be worthy of respect, they go, oh, this is stupid. Like, this is so dumb. Oh my God. Like, aren't visual novels so stupid? Let's make fun of it. Let's be ironic so that everybody, like, when they put that meth voice, cute voice, everybody there is supposed to like, oh, that's funny. In a normal visual novel, that'd be a serious choice. But here you're using it for something dumb. And it's like, that's not funny. That probably might have been funny in like 2005, but we have all matured and we've all moved on. They don't care about the medium, and they don't want to understand what video games are, or visual novels, or probably even superheroes, which is what that is all themed after. So they're trying to imitate something that they don't understand. Whereas Sam and Max was going, let's make a wacky adventure because we are wacky. That's what our world is. We get what the medium can do. Oh, let's make some funny jokes about the fact that Max has to go rummage through the same drawer 5 times because that's how adventure games go. It's about passion and soul versus soulless and just seeing things as a job, if you will. Game already puts FIFA to shame. I mean, at least recent ones. Recent FIFAs have been bad. And then Tahillim says, just need a Shaolin soccer game. If we could get a proper, like, anime style soccer game, even if it's like an original thing like this, or hey, do a Captain Tsubasa one, do a Blue Lock one that really like lets the powers fly. I'm in for that. I would be so in for that. I loved growing up. I don't know if you guys all, I know we have a kind of an international audience here. I don't know if all of you guys had these games because they feel very America-centric. But growing up, there was a game series called Backyard Sports, which were very kid-oriented games, ages like 6 to 10, you know, NHL, so hockey, basketball, soccer, baseball, football, pretty much every sport. And the appeal of it was, because it's a kid's game, each of the kids had like a special ability that you could use, you know, once a match or once after you recharged it. So there was for example, there was a kid who was a magician. And if you picked him as your quarterback, you could go back for the pass and then tap the button for his power, and he would disappear and get like 10 yards up and start running, right? There was a kid who, in the baseball game, you could throw a freeze pitch where if you threw it, it would go right to the player, and then right when it was about to get to where they would think to like click to swing, it would cover in ice and immediately sink to the ground. And so the timing would be off and they'd miss it. That's the kind of stuff I want back in video games, because I think we've pigeonholed sports into being too realistic for too long. Bring back the NBA Streets, bring back the Mario Hoops 3-on-3. Those are the games that, one, they're really fun, but two, this is me speaking from like a business perspective. We're in an age right now where most sports leagues outside of, I believe, all of general like soccer leagues, or at least Europeans and then like South American and international soccer leagues, everything else is dying. So, maybe let me rephrase that. In America, our sports, interest is dying. Nobody's watching baseball. Nobody's watching football. Nobody's watching any of our soccer teams or our football teams. So I think if you did this, if you introduced a game that was a little more video gamey, if you will, over soccer, I think that pulls in a different demographic, and it can also bring some of them into being sports fans. I know that, somebody plays a Shaolin soccer game, they'll probably be like, oh yeah, soccer's cool. Maybe I want to go try and play it. Maybe I'll watch a match with my dad. Again, maybe it'll take, maybe it won't, but it at least does something. So I'm right there. It's all I want. Or another Mega Man Soccer if we have to. Yes, Sifu was an incredible game. I really like it, even though it's very, very hard. Yes, Timon. Super International Soccer Deluxe on the SNES. Bring it back. And then let's see. Shinkai says, I don't think any special abilities can be as wild as the ones in Azuma 11. That's basically what if Sakura had shown in the special moves. I'm upset, Shinkai, because that's what I meant to say, not fucking Captain Tsubasa. I meant to say in Uzama 11. I don't know why I farted on that. But yes, give us like an Inazuma 11 game, like a good one, or an Inazuma 11 style game. So then we got, this is just funny to me because it looks like kind of like a mech action game, if you will, or like a mech shooter action game. Probably would be right up my alley, and it's probably going to be really fun. I just laugh at this a lot because it is from the devs behind War Thunder, the game that the War Sim game, multiplayer game you guys have all probably seen every YouTuber advertising, or in the news when somebody leaks a classified document from their own military to own somebody in a discussion because War Thunder is built on being realistic. That just makes me laugh. So in my head, I have all these scenarios of like, oh yeah, we're gonna learn that the U.S. is building mecha because some guy is gonna play this and go on the forums and be like, no, that's not how that joint would work. It would work like this. But aside from that, for all I've seen of War Thunder, it looks fun. It looks good. I haven't played it because the honest truth of why I haven't played it is because it just seems like the UI and interface and the system just seems really overtly complicated and noisy and not complicated because I can do complicated, but like the menus, there's 1,000,000,004 menus just to get into a game to select it feels like a job. Don't need another job. Maybe Steel Hunters will be better. Obviously, the mecha angle is going to appeal to me. I like that it's not just like bipedal mechs. We got that wolf one there fighting alongside the other bipedal one. This is a cool bit that I feel like we kind of forget a lot in media. But I love how the robot swings his sword back, and he forgets that like there's a ship behind him, and it starts tearing into the ship. Right? Like, I don't know. It's just one of those little details where I'm like, that's cool. Like, you don't think about it, but that would totally happen at times. Soccer. Mundial Unido Soccer 64! Yes, let's do it. Oh, man. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Yeah, I need to be a Corinthians fan. No dull moment. I mean, watching you share in the Discord server all of the stats, all the updates, all the game, like, play-by-plays, it does seem like you guys are having a hell of a time as a team. I'm a Manchester United fan. We are not having a hell of a time as a team. But also, Timon, I mentioned this. I don't know if you saw it, but I still am like baffled, and maybe you can give me some insight. Why is the Corinthians, like the official Corinthians account, the most blocked account on Blue Sky? I saw a chart, and like I genuinely don't get it. I do not get it. So if you have any idea what that's about, I'd love to know. Another sort of 2D game. I didn't really care about this one. It'll probably be fine. People will probably like it. It very much feels like a Terraria sort of game. So, might be cool. Probably won't check it out myself, but I can see a lot of people enjoying that. We're getting a new Dying Light game, which, here's the thing. I know that I actually am very aware that these games are pretty well produced and actually a lot of fun, and actually, like, the devs commit and they care. The problem is, I've also heard, so I've never played one, right? But after Dying Light 2 came out, I was like, hearing a lot of good things about it. Maybe I pick it up. These games are all like 70 hours long, minimum. and that's not doing like side content or anything. So this could be cool. If you're a Dying Light fan, you're probably already in. If they can manage to sort of streamline it a little bit, I'm not saying give me like a 4-hour game, but give me a game that's not, hey, Zero, don't worry, you're crashing out. We're probably ending here as soon as we get to the Clive talk. If you want to hang out for like 2 seconds, I'll get to that next. We'll skip over everything else. I was just clicking on Dying Light. But yeah, so if you're into Dying Light, this is probably going to be really good. Looks really good. But again, I haven't gotten into it. I probably won't because just in general, it's long, and I have too many other things to do. I have Marvel Rivals, I've got Bounding, I've got art, I've got music. Then finally, yes, we're already about 20 minutes over our normal time, so we'll just wrap it up here. I know I didn't get to Ultimate X-Men. We'll hold on to that. That'll be, maybe I'll talk about that on foil variant. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. But yes, final thing. There we go. Corinthians have the biggest set of anti-fans in Brazil. That's so Is there any is it just football rivalry? I'm confused, but I'm like genuinely interested. Like I've never known about any of this. So if you guys play Tekken 8, if you saw the news, you're watching the Game Awards, your newest DLC fighter will be Clive from Final Fantasy 16. I know Zero is not a fan of it. I will be honest, Zero. I can understand, but I also don't really get why you're so intensely against it. So let me explain my point. I get that Clive's a weird choice. I know 16 wasn't really that popular with a lot of people, and I know that I know that, Zero, like football rivalry here crosses into violence easily. I never seriously, like the chart is like 500,000 people have blocked Corinthians is number 1, and then the second is like Matty Iglesias, the really annoying Democrat writer, at like 40,000 blocks. Like it is insane. So no idea what's going on there. But in terms of Clive, I get the complaints. I get that one, he sort of doesn't really fit with the aesthetic. You know, he's very from the past. He's ancient, medieval, while everybody else is more modern. I get that, and I also get that 16 wasn't everybody's favorite. I'm not going to argue against any of that. However, I will at least say that from what we see here, this, like, he looks like he's at least implemented well. He looks like he's fun. His moves are way flashier than what I've seen out of actual 16 gameplay, right? Which isn't saying that's not there. This is just more rapid fire because obviously it's a fighting game. It's only a 2-minute round as opposed to a 400-hour game. So he looks good. I don't think it's too surprising considering that Noctis was chosen as in the last game. I kind of like that we're getting, Final Fantasy partnership from here on out. So I as a Tekken player, a casual Tekken player, I'm in for him. I'm probably going to wait until they release like the complete edition till I play 8. I'm still playing 7. So I probably won't get my hands on him in a while, but I kind of think he's a cool, addition. Stop, go away. Like, especially with his arm being permanently out like that. Let's see. It's not just being Clive, it's that the choice is just stupid in general. Rather than picking Tifa and Ride Rebirth, Harada picked the game whose hype's already gone. I don't think that really matters. I don't think this is really about hype. I think this is about video games. It's about what's more current. Clive is more of the big male fighter as opposed to Tifa. Tifa is more of the wafy anime fighter that you would see in Dead or Alive, or even like more King of Fighters. She doesn't feel like a good fit to me for Tekken. I would rather see, if I had to pick a Final Fantasy character who wasn't here, I'd pick Zell. But if you wanted me to pick somebody who was more recent, I would even go so far as to pick like Zack over Tifa if I was going to pick somebody, because Zack's like the main character of Rebirth. So, and yeah, that's what I admitted that, like, Clive doesn't blend into the setting, but I also don't really think he has to. I think with guest characters, it's okay if they don't. I mean, I lived through Soul Calibur 4 having Darth Vader and Yoda. I lived through Soul Calibur 4 having a Christmas angel drawn by the guy who does Sergeant Frog as an original character in there. I've, Tekken 8 had, or not Tekken 8, freaking, Soul Calibur Legends, right? That had Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia, and they didn't even try to make him realistic. They just threw in, like skinned him like Tails. So I think in terms of guest characters, it's okay if they break canon, I think, or setting rather, as long as the art style of the model in the game is in that art style. That's okay. Like that's fine. I think so. In that terms, I think Clive looks great. I think he's fine. I don't think the hype is necessarily gone on 16. Again, that game just came out on PC. I can see where you're coming from, Zero. I just sort of think it's a little too hardline, if you will, right? Like it's a little hardline, but I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, because that's your opinion. You can have your opinion. So Zell would actually make me buy the game. Shinkai says Yuffie could be nice in Tekken, but I doubt would be anybody's first choice. He's this guy's first choice. Sakura says Soul Calibur 2 had Heihachi Mishima. I mean, it had Heihachi, it had Link, and it had Spawn. Theoretically, none of those three characters fit at all into the aesthetic. Maybe Link does, but they also kept him more bright and vibrant and Ocarina of Timey than they did Soul Calibur. So, guest characters in fighting games, I'm okay with them breaking the rules. Clive's not the dumbest choice you could have picked. If you'd have picked somebody like Ellie or Joel from Last of Us, right? Like, that's where I would have been like, this is stupid. But this at least makes sense. It's at least a video game, right? People like him. I know a lot of people like the voice actor for him, the English language one. So I get that's not your personal preference, and I like, there's nothing I can say that goes, you're a little bit, holy shit, it's Josh, what is going on? No, I've got headphones in, buddy. Yeah, short hair, shaved, and no headphones. If you were enjoying retirement, you didn't have to come back, but I am so happy I saw you, even though it is right here at the bare end of the show. Get your ass in my DMs or text me. I miss you, brother. I'm genuinely excited right now. Like, I'm sure everybody can feel that. But Moogle for Tekken, that would actually be kind of fun. He would fit in well with like Gon or the Kangaroos or any of that. So yeah, Tekken, I think Tekken and just fighting games in general, if it's a guest character, you can play a little bit more, as long as you don't pick just really, really dumb, like, why are we even here? Like, even though I brought up Darth Vader and Yoda, I have to admit that when they came out, I was like, why the fuck is Yoda here? Who cares? Like, it's not even Revenge of the Sith time. Revenge of the Sith was like years ago. What are we even doing here? So that would be good too, Sakura. Leon Scott Kennedy for Tekken via the knife fight. You could do that. You could do Chris. Chris would be like a perfect fit for Tekken. He already like mainly punches and stuff. He used like punches and kicks in Marvel vs. Capcom, so that's already ready to go. So right? Yeah, Zero. For some reason, okay, so comments that get held by YouTube chat don't pop up on my stream thing over here that I can highlight. It's stupid. I'm trying to fix it, so I can't grab yours, Zero. But yes, it's a name you haven't heard in ages. He's been having a good time off, taking care of his stuff. But man, I'm just like, I've missed him so much. But yeah, so that was basically the Game Awards. Some cool stuff, some, yeah, exactly. Tekken, 100 hours just to learn one character. Ain't nobody got time for that. It's like 100 hours just to learn a character, and then you have to spend like another 100 learning how to actually use them. Not just like what their moves are, but how to actually use them. So like, I haven't gotten into 8 yet. Still dipping my toes in 7. Once this game comes out in an Ultimate Edition, I'll probably pick it up and play with it for like a weekend or so. But yes, I'll always will stick to my Marvel vs. Capcoms if I can. But for the Game Awards, that's basically what we got. It was fine. I mean, I got some good announcements, but nothing here that makes me really go like, yes, this is the game, right? Like, I'm excited about Okami. I'm excited about Ninja Gaiden. I'm excited about Onimusha, Sonic Racing. But if they hadn't have come, I wouldn't have been like disappointed. So it was fine. Jeff, okay, sure. I don't know what you want. The rest of the ceremony was embarrassing, but at least we got some okay stuff out of these announcements. Let's see. Josh, I feel that way after buying Gundam Maxi Boost. I have yet to play that one, but I see customization and I'm already dreading it. Oh, dude, that customization goes really, really, really hard. Yes, exactly, Sakura. Imagine Leon Rage Art is Chris's hyper combo from MVC3 with all the weapons. I would love that. Like, that would be cool, and that would, even though it's guns in Tekken, it works in the setting. I also forgot to mention this, but I remembered it right now because I'm looking at the red sword. But the shonen anime brain in me, when Jin did, like, when he, like, clacked his fist and his wing went out, and then Clive clacked his fist and his wing went out, I was like, oh, hell yeah, start the theme. Like, this is the end of the anime showdown. Hey, it's okay, Shinkai. It's hard. Gundam Maxi Boost is very, very hard. You know what I want, though? I want a new Dynasty Warriors Gundam. We haven't gotten that in, like, 4 years. Probably never will, but I want it. But, yeah, we are at 3 hours for tonight's show, guys, which is about 30 minutes after or over what we do. So I think that's probably a good place for us to wrap it tonight. You thought the Game Awards was next week. It doesn't really matter. You can always... I didn't even watch him. I just waited until, like, this morning, and then I looked up this Polygon article that has all the announcements, and I just went, cool, that's what we've got. I'm not sitting through a bunch of, like, here's your, diaper streamer of the year, or here's your streamer who, played the best Destiny while chugging Monster Energy drinks, whatever shit like that, right? Like, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for Jeff to bring up... So I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm just going to close out my ranting on the Game Awards with this. During the Game Awards, Jeff brought up a guy who he was praising as, like, oh, there's been so many layoffs in the industry this year, but this guy, we're going to give him a community award. He's out there. He's making a difference. He's really trying. And they brought him up, and it was like, oh, he's so great. The guy, all the work he did was he created a spreadsheet, and he opened it up to the public. And he said, like, if you lost your job, put your info in here, and you'll be in the I'm starting a database. If you're unemployed and you work in games, put your stuff in. So people would go to the spreadsheet, name, address, contact info, done. He wouldn't give it to anybody. He wouldn't try and connect you with people. It was just a spreadsheet. It's the same as if I made a Google Doc and said, Shinkai, Josh, Sakura, Timon, if you guys could help me out and go fill that out, and then, put your addresses in it, whatever. I'll hope you guys find some really cool new jobs. Didn't do anything. And then I went on, like, the news and was going, oh, yeah, I'm really trying to help this crisis right now. Like, I'm really making a difference. So that's basically what they did. But even worse is that the guy they brought up isn't some independent, like, small little guy who was just trying to help the industry. He's a fucking acquisitions director over at Tencent. He is the one responsible for buying out, for finding new acquisition targets, getting them on the radar. And what does that do when they get acquired by Tencent? You pull it in, chop up everything, and that here we are. So Jeff's full of shit. I don't want to endorse any of that, but hey, at least I got my Okami. Game of the Year, Project Bluebeam, New Jersey. Dude, Project Bluebeam, Arizona. Those lights are also here over my city, and you can see them sometimes. I unfortunately, like, I hate this, even though I'm very, very UFO pilled and UFO brained. Like, my sister will text me, a friend will text me and be like, did you see them? The lights are back. And I'm like, I was on a fucking stream. Are you kidding me? Like, this sucks. Like, I bet if I look at my phone right now, there's probably going to be something. I just have way too many text messages to actually make a joke like that. Yeah, UAPs. Yep. Oh, like last year's indie game owned by a giant parent company. Exactly. They keep doing it. They keep going, oh, very small development studio. Great job. Or very small indie person. Great job. And then, nope, it is. Yeah, I know. I'm so passe. UFO is so 2019. It should be UAP or it should be Nephilim if you're religious. Okay. You go away. Fine, I'll go away. But yes, guys, I think with that little highlight of Jeff's bullshit for the Game Awards, my camera decided it wanted to do its unfocusing thing. So that's probably an amazing time for us to sign off tonight. Guys, thank you everyone for coming to hang out with me. I know we went a little bit over, but I think we had a lot of good discussions. We talked the Game Awards. We talked a little bit of Culture Wars, even though I try to avoid that. We talked a little bit about, I don't even remember what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, but it was good. I'm glad to hang out with you guys every single Friday, whether it's Corey, Andrew, Timon, Shinkai, Volume Dealer, Tehillim, freaking Punk was here, Sakura's here, Duck was here. Zero was here, and of course my man Josh. And I need you, like, I'm not running away from you. I need to talk. I want to talk to you. Get in my DMs. You just came in at like the literal worst moment for this stream. But guys, everybody who's watching, everybody who is watching and not commenting, to everybody who watches this in the VOD, I know I've got a good handful of you guys who do. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm glad that you guys think whatever I have to say is worthwhile. I hope I'm accomplishing my mission. Remember, this show is here to get your weekend off right, shake off all the crap from the week, because we spend all week just trudging through the shit of the internet, crap of all of our hobbies. But I'm here to remind you that we can still laugh, we can still hang out, there's still good stuff in the world, good games, good people, good comic books, all that fun stuff. So I hope you guys had fun. I had fun. Already looking forward to next week. I'm super excited. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I mentioned it earlier, but I went with the Ava naming scheme for this one. Still working on that layout. You'll know, let's just say when it's ready to go. If you're here, you'll know when it's ready to go. So, and it'll be soon. Sorry, that made it sound like I was going to put it off for like 4 years, but no, it'll be soon. It'll be in the next few weeks. So, yes, thank you thanks for coming on the ride, Zero. Always a pleasure. Great stream tonight. It's a great stream because of you guys. 3 hours of awesomeness. Again, couldn't have done it without all of you. It's my pleasure. Now, go have a good weekend. Go play some fun games. Go hop on some Marvel Rivals. Go talk to some friends. Go eat some good food. Remember, the world sucks, but it's not entirely terrible. So, yeah, later Mav, or later Corey. I'm pretty sure I said goodbye to Corey. I think you were like the second name I said, but if I didn't, Corey was also here, and it's never a show without Corey. Did I say Tehillim? Now I'm just like, I need a list. I genuinely need like a list right here above my computer of all of my regulars, so I can get you guys every time, because I always, even though this time I'm pretty sure I got everyone, I always feel like I didn't. But yes, take care everyone. Later Josh. And yeah, guys, until next time, check out Foil Variant Thursday nights. You can find that on YouTube. 01 stream Wednesday nights over at 9 p.m. Eastern time on the Bounding Into Comics channel. You can find me on various channels in the chats around here on the Sphere. Always hanging out on Andrew's streams, whether that's World Class Bullshitters on Tuesday or Saturday solo streams. Tooneytown TV, WDW Pro, That Park Place. I'm all over the place. You'll find me. If I'm not on screen, I'm in the chat. So yes, you can find me around here. You can always hang out with me. I'm looking to hang out with you. As always, oh, I can't believe I forgot this. As always, the Discord link for this week is down below. Remember, it is temporary, so it'll expire in a few hours. But as always, we will generate new links every show, whether it's here, Foil Variant, yada, yada. So if you want to hang out with, me, Timon, Zero, Sakura, Shinkai, Phantom, he's not here tonight, but I know he's here. Oh, Caveats. I forgot to say Caveat, but if you want to hang out with Caveat, if you want to hang out with Andrew, if you want to hang out with me, go click that link. Come on board. We're happy to have you. And until next time, guys, all I can say is take it easy.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him, burned and we'll
I don't
execute
even
him
know
and
who
burned.
that guy is.